What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another edition of the evolution of Sports Talk Television. It's a Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about. And how do we start off this show? As you know them, you love them, you got to have them here on a Monday night as we're only 2 days away from the NFL schedule release. Are you ready? I know I am. We'll be live at 8 o'clock on Wednesday night, probably earlier, a little bit earlier, probably 7:55. I'll have the TV set up here. We'll be taking your phone calls to see what your Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to do, how many primetime games. You know, that's a question for the night. How many primetime games do you want your Tampa Bay Buccaneers to have in 2025? Before we get ahead of ourselves, here we go. Bring your passion, bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. Once again, I'm your host, Peter Blake, your Rolex reporter. On tonight's show, we'll have Louie from the Frozen Pirate Podcast. We'll have Harry the Greek, professional handicapper extraordinaire. We will have J.C. Allen of Sports Illustrated about 8:15, celebrating 5 years since he started covering the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. How about that? No L. Bushman tonight, so we'll strictly keep it, Bucks talk. If you do want to talk some Rays, we can definitely do that. We may have Tampa Bay Ray Kennedy in here. I know we're going to have the legend, Mr. Leo Haggerty, former Coach Scott and now media member of Night Sports Productions and Amped Up Sports at 9 o'clock. And as always, we'll take your phone calls. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391 as my phone is just going off right now as we speak. There was some news that just came down about 10 minutes ago. Now, I want to read this to you. Maybe this was today, but this is being reported by ESPN. Evan Longoria to sign a one-day contract with the Tampa Bay Rays, of course, to retire. Eric Neander had this to say: Evan Longoria's place in Rays history is unmatched. Evan leaves the game as our all-time leader in nearly every major offensive category. He's not only defined an era of Rays baseball, he helped put us on the map. His impact both on and off the field laid the foundation for our success. It's a privilege to celebrate his legacy. Of course, Longoria, third overall pick in 2006 draft. From 2008 to 2017, his rookie year. I remember it like it was yesterday, being at the radio station at 10:10 a.m. and saying that Rays team that I believed at the time, even though they had the lowest payroll, to have 88 wins. And of course, they surpassed that, I believe, with 97 that year. Evan was a big part of that on their way to the World Series versus the Philadelphia Phillies, who consequently the other night took 2 out of 3 from, or actually swept, the Tampa Bay Rays. And then the Rays take 2 out of 3 from the Milwaukee Brewers. So once again, we will definitely talk some Rays, but definitely want to hear from you when it comes to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We'll read the comments. As always, Roger Shue here. First, as always,
acknowledge me.
Tribal troll right there, Mr. Christopher Cole. Second, very cool.
Oh, yeah.
Space Windu says third generation here. Let's go Tampa. Let's go Tampa.
Wait up, little boy.
Yeah,
Wait up.
Get your weight up. Absolutely. There we go. Mr. Tim Haynes right there. Good evening, everyone. Good evening to you. Everybody's on YouTube tonight. What is going on? This is cool. Love that.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, Facebook available, but you guys are on YouTube, so I appreciate that. Like and subscribe to the Sports Web there on YouTube. And I say 4 primetime games. So 4 primetime games, says Christopher Cole. He gets it started off. How many games would you like to see the Bucks have this year on primetime? Because lately they haven't been able to play very well on prime time. Isn't that right, Tom Brady?
That's good enough to suck right there.
See, I got to throw the Tom Brady out there. I got to do it. I have to do it. At the end of the day, we're also on Instagram Live. Hello to you out there. Like and subscribe to that. And LinkedIn Live. Once again, friend me on Facebook at Peter H. Blake. Facebook stars are open. YouTube super chats are open. What do we got here? Can I get a job? I'll clean the stadium. Anything to help out. I'm dedicated to this organization. My body shows it. Appreciate you tuning in to the evolution of Sports Talk Television. Can't give you a job at the stadium. You probably have to go through the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but welcome aboard.
Oh, yeah.
And let's go out to Mr. Space Windu again. I can agree with 4. We need to get those wins in. Again, we will be live on Wednesday night at 8 o'clock for the schedule release when your Tampa Bay Buccaneers and other teams, especially some of the other teams that were announced today, the Philadelphia Eagles, the Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles will host the How About Those Cowboys? Groan in the audience there. Who doesn't want to see the Dallas Cowboys versus the Philadelphia Eagles on the first game of the NFL season? Who doesn't want to see that, right? I don't think anybody wants to see that.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
Besides the Eagles and besides Cowboy fans, which once again, I'm trying not to be a hater, but it's always about the Cowboys and America's team and blah, 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 blah. And this is what you're going to hear. Dak Prescott and the weapons and all these expectations. And once again, they're going to do what they always do when it comes to the postseason, the bed. That's what they're going to do. But that is your first game of the National Football League season, September 4th. We get it really started. Of course, we got a ways to go. It's right around the corner, but then it's not. So we will definitely have that schedule release. Already some games coming out. I hate when they kind of do that, but then they kind of tease you. You thought you were going to kind of get a better, first game matchup. Nothing against the Philadelphia Eagles, but I'd rather see somebody take on the Philadelphia Eagles besides the Dallas Cowboys, but that's what you got. All right, so without further ado, let me get out to this guy right here. I got myself a gun. I did. I woke myself up this morning, got myself a gun on Monday, and here we go.
What do you hear? What do you say?
That's right, Mr. Louie from the Frozen Pirate Podcast. Welcome to the evolution of Sports Talk Television, only 2 days away from the NFL schedule release. How you doing tonight on this Monday, my friend?
Doing good, man. Beautiful weather today. It was a great day. I got 4 more days left with this job, and then I start the new journey. Outside of that, it's just I'm doing good, man. How about you, Peter? How are you doing?
Man, I'm doing great. Again, I'm pumped up. A couple days away from the NFL schedule release. I'm curious to see what the Bucs are going to have on this schedule. What are going to be the primetime games? Are they going to, because this was thrown out there in care of WDAE and Mark Tompkin of the Tampa Bay Times. Would they actually schedule the Bucs on the same day that the Rays would play at Steinbrenner Field? Would they schedule a home game on September 7th when the Rays play? I think that's more likely a road game. And then there's a rumor going around that the Bucs could play on Thanksgiving. How about that, huh? Get your turkey, your mashed potatoes and gravy. Of course, you got to have the gravy. We've already been through that debacle that didn't happen. Sorry, Mom. Love you. That was a couple of years. It was some years ago. Inside joke of the show. Got to have the sweet potatoes and got to have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers possibly versus the Detroit Lions. Do you like that matchup? I mean, that's been the rumor.
Yeah, I would be. Let me adjust this real quick. I would definitely be okay with that. I mean, I don't like the primetime games, though. We're not very good on primetime. Never been a big fan of primetime. I feel like I waste my time watching those games because I get set up for a disappointment, and then I wake up groggy the next day, and I'm upset. And I'm just like, well, you know what? I could have got 2 extra hours of sleep as I'm getting.
Oh, and I think we paused you there, so I don't know what happened. I gotta love that Wi-Fi, man.
You know what it is? I'm getting a little annoyed. I think I gotta call Comcast because I spend a lot of damn money on this internet.
How much?
I pay like $130.
Like, right? You $130, and
I feel like I'm getting scammed here.
You're getting scammed. It's a scam.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Comcast. Thanks a lot, Spectrum. Like always.
Yeah, I feel
One sec.
we'll get you the Wi-Fi pods to extend Wi-Fi.
We need some
Well,
Wi-Fi.
why don't we figure out what's going on with the internet, man? Let's start with that. Maybe start selling me other stuff that I don't need.
Well, maybe the Wi-Fi pods will help out with the internet. Maybe that's what it is.
I highly doubt it. Comcast sucks.
Comcast. Well, we're in
I think it's what it is, Peter. I think it's the modem. If I had a better modem, I think because they want you to rent from them, and then I've been looking into it, and I'm just like, you know what? I'm just gonna buy my own modem. You know what I'm saying? Something good. Because I'm not a big fan of their modem. Like I said, just Comcast sucks. Altogether. But what can we do?
Yeah, there's nothing you can do. The other big story was not only schedule release here, but Derek Carr. Congratulations on retirement as he's retiring because of a shoulder injury, which if you watched the show the last couple of years, you would have known that was going to happen because Harry the Greek said that's the reason why the Bucs shouldn't want him in the first place. And I was one of those guys that said, I wish the Bucs would get Derek Carr at the time. Thought he was the best quarterback for the situation. Harry said, no. He's got shoulder problems. And sure enough, he retires because of shoulder problems. Although there were some rumors out there, the reason why he did retire from the Saints is because he didn't want to be, if you will, a quarterback to help out a young one, which they drafted clearly. So we will definitely, see how that works out. But if you're a Bucs fan at this point, you have to be excited because the Saints look like, they're always competitive in this division, but right now they're most likely going to either have a rookie quarterback or a second-year quarterback. They're not in a good situation. There is talk of Aaron Rodgers. Could you see Aaron Rodgers signing with the Saints? Would that be an improvement over what they had the last couple of years there with Carr, in your opinion?
Absolutely not. And before we get into the Aaron Rodgers situation, I just have to say, I was one of those who didn't want Derek Carr, and it's funny because I went back and listened to a lot of the old Frozen Pirate Podcast episodes.
Yes.
And I was saying in those, I'm like, hey, I like Derek Carr, but he's not the guy for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We need somebody that has grit, that's tough. He's not the guy because I don't want to see my quarterback crying on TV. I'm sorry, no offense. It's just I didn't want him. And quarterbacks like that, they just don't let really good quarterbacks walk out the door, if you know what I mean. So the Vegas Raiders knew something. And when he went to the New Orleans Saints, a lot of people panicked, like, oh my God, he was irrelevant with the Saints. And I hate saying that about athletes, but he didn't fare well against teams like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and they didn't do anything. So, hey, he gets to play some golf, but fix that shoulder before you start swinging the clubs, man.
Well, there you go.
See you later.
We get to play some golf there, and
Aaron Rodgers. Nah, man. As a New Orleans Saint, I mean, at that point, you're just kind of, in my opinion, you're just chasing the money at this point. Again, I've been on record on saying this, Peter. If Aaron Rodgers wants to be successful and really compete and truly compete, he has to go to a team that has pieces in place. There's not many teams that's really available for him outside of maybe Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh is the best bet for him. He's got a receiver in DJ Metcalf, and they have a pretty decent defense. That's his best situation right now, in my opinion. But if he wants to chase the money, go to the New Orleans Saints. I'm sure they can restructure 16 more contracts and continue to be in cap hell. Hey, by any means, they'll
continue to be. We'll talk more about Carr and the surprise or not the surprise, if you will. And we're expecting J.C. Allen of Sports Illustrated once again, celebrating his 5th year anniversary of covering the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah, huge accomplishment.
Absolutely started out on this show during the draft. And, for me, it's like I didn't remember it was May. Like I always think it's March or April when the draft. But in 2020, it was so weird because it seemed like the longest year of all time. You had free agents.
Oh, yeah. COVID was a weird year. That was weird.
Right. And you had the draft in May, and he's exactly right. He called the show before the draft, after the draft. He became a regular on the evolution of sports talk television, and it went from there. All right, let's go out to Eric. Let's go. Well, we don't have the let's go anymore from Tom Brady, but we do have this.
Wait up, little boy. Wait up.
Yes, get your weight up right there. Phyllis Swift Miller, please, not more than any 3 primetime games. No Monday night, says Miss Phyllis right there.
Monday night. I'm okay with Monday.
Of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We love you and what you do as a fan for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But yeah, go ahead. Finish what you were saying.
I'm okay with Monday nights. I'm okay with that. Thursday nights, I don't like those games.
No.
Thursday night games, they mess up. I feel like the Bucs really. I don't know what their record is all time on Thursday night. I'll look it up, but I don't like Thursday night games. I feel like they're not very. I don't like it, Peter. I don't like Thursday night games, and I don't want the creamsicles because they lose.
Coming, buddy. They're coming back.
I know. I'm just
They're
saying.
Coming back. The Buccaneer creamsicle is coming back. Yeah, they're coming back. Fire
Why
those.
Don't bring back the white ones.
I don't know. Maybe the
white ones would be good.
Maybe I never liked the white ones. I think they
really?
wear white too much. The white are okay, but they wear the white too much. They already wear white too much. That's what the fans say.
Well, I mean,
they don't wear red.
I mean, Peter, I wouldn't want to wear dark red and pewter in the dead of 90 degrees and stuff like that. I mean, I can see why they wear white.
Players, man,
I
know what you're saying, though. I know. Yeah, I still like to see them do the more the red than the white, but
I'd like to see them pull out a black jersey for like primetime games. I think that'd be really cool. Black and pewter. I think that'd look really cool.
Yeah, if they're not going to wear red, they're definitely not wearing black.
Yeah, I know. Although those color rush jerseys were very cool. The red ones, the all red ones. Why don't they bring those back and modify them with the numbers?
Mustard? You like those? Nah, you can't do those.
Ketchup and mustard. No, that game was, oh my God. It was literally like, even Aubrey was saying it. She was like, it looks like bottles of ketchup and mustard running around.
That's exactly what it was.
It was just exactly. It was bad. But I would be okay with them doing the red again. But they have to change those numbers. I'm okay with the style of pants because it kind of looked like a sword a little bit on the side. But you have to do away with the digital alarm clock numbers. All right, they got to do away with that.
Numbers should absolutely be gone.
Yeah, terrible.
Absolutely. Yeah, they are terrible. That's why I'm wearing my glasses right now, so I don't have to, I have to look and look at those uniforms because somebody said.
Remember they used to reflect off the light too.
Oh yeah.
We can reflect off the light.
I'm blind because I can't reflect off the light so much with the.
Do you remember when that was what the era of the color rush, right? That was what they branded at the NFL. Yeah, color rush. Yes, the color rush. And so do you remember when they put the Bills and the Jets on, and the Jets were wearing green, and the Bills were wearing red? The people that were colorblind were like, "What in the hell is this?" Yeah, major fail. Major fail. Good job, NFL.
Yeah. Space Wendu, Thanksgiving football while falling asleep. Absolutely. That's what you can do, for Thanksgiving, and not necessarily in that order. Space Wendu, you eat as much turkey as you want, as many trimmings as you want, as many carbs as you want to. And if the football game is bad, which the last football game for the Bucs on Thanksgiving was not good. Against the Terrell Owens and Dallas Cowboys, it was like 35-7. You can fall asleep during that game. NBA rigged got the first pick. It's not rigged. I don't know if it's rigged. Congratulations to the Dallas Mavericks that get rid of Luka. He goes to the LA Lakers, and of course they are eliminated in the first round to surprise of no one because they don't play defense. They're completely out of shape, and now they're going to get flagged most likely from the Duke Blue Devils. Belongs to Dallas. Sitting says, "Go Bucks all day. Go Bucks."
Wait up, little boy.
Go
Wait
Bucks.
How about them Bucks, baby?
Go Bucks. There you go. Christopher Cole says Saints tanking for Arch Manning. That would be interesting. Absolutely. Of course, Arch being the grandson of Archie, former Saints quarterback there. Aaron Rodgers is not an improvement. He's a waste of skin, but I won't sugarcoat my feelings. I believe she said, I think Rodgers is holding out, waiting to see if Minnesota changes their mind. They have the greatness of J.J. McCarthy. there, and they're expecting him to start coming off an injury. And it's Alex the Troll. That it is, Alex the Troll.
Yeah.
We appreciate you,
baby.
Alex. All right, let's go on to this guy here celebrating his 5th anniversary of covering the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And where did it all start here, gentlemen? It started on the evolution of sports talk television right here on the Sports Web. Mr. J.C. Allen, welcome to the evolution of sports talk television, my friend. 5 years? Has it been 5 years, my friend? What do you remember that first year of being on the Sports Web?
Yeah, I can't believe it's 5 years, going to the 6th season this year. I'll say this. Since I have started covering the Buccaneers, they have not missed the playoffs. They have won a Super Bowl and 4 straight division titles after that. So I don't know. I'm not saying, it's me. I'm not saying maybe it's, Trevor Sikkema leaving. I don't, one of the two, but, I'm just saying I brought that winning culture from New England down here.
There you go.
Well, we got Louie from, of course, Massachusetts. So we got our mass guys here on the Sports Web.
You got to say the other one, Peter.
Well, I was going to keep it. I was going to keep it.
Yeah, it's not after 9 yet. He can't get dinged,
I'll say it.
The algorithm.
Mass holes. The mass holes.
There goes the algorithm.
The mass holes.
I mean, I remember my first call, Peter. I remember my first call. I remember, and if anyone hasn't heard this story, I'll tell it again because it's still crazy to me. And I posted, on X that it was my 5-year anniversary, and I showed a lot of appreciation to everyone who's helped me on this journey. And I had someone comment earlier today that I've watched you from the beginning. It's been awesome to see you grow, and I think that's kind of rare, and I think it's pretty cool. For not just for me, but for everyone who's kind of been there from the beginning, to watch someone kind of grow into a role that people enjoy. So, but I remember I was looking around. It started back in January of 2020. I was looking around everywhere, and I was like, all these people are talking about Tom Brady to the Chargers. They're talking about Tom Brady to the Titans. I'm like, what about the Bucs? And I wrote something on my Facebook wall saying, don't discount the Bucs. They've got a great team in place. They're a quarterback away. They got Bruce Arians, yada, yada, yada. No state income tax, the weather, still in close proximity to New York where his son Jack lived. Don't rule that out. And I got ridiculed by all my friends. Fast forward 2 months later, and lo and behold, Tom Brady was a Buc. And I'm looking because up north, as your co-host can describe, we have 2 channels dedicated to Boston sports. We have Comcast and Nesson, or Xfinity, whatever it is. And we have 2 radio stations that don't have syndications during the day. At least they didn't back in the day. It's just straight, New England sports after New England sports all the way down. We used to have Damon Amendola, Amanda Lower, whatever his name is. And he would do from like 8 to midnight. So it's just, we've always had something, whatever breaking news has happened, there's plenty of coverage. And I come down here and, granted it's COVID, but no one's really talking about it. So I'm like, I got to find somewhere. I try to go on Fox, Florida, and there's all just NASCAR and bass fishing. And I stumbled upon this show that caught my eye, and it wasn't like a podcast, and it wasn't a radio station. But it was a combination of both, and that's the Sports Web, where you can be someone and be in the comments and kind of be an anonymous down there or share, but you can also call in. And I seized that opportunity, and I said, look, I've been watching Brady for his entire career. I can tell you what he's going to bring. I can tell you about the culture change that's going to have. I can tell you about how he's going to utilize these players, how he's going to revitalize any. I'm like, they're going to win. They're going to win soon. They're going to win fast. And that was the start. That was the first phone call I had to Peter Blake in the Sports Web.
It was. And we talked draft, and we talked about Tom Brady. And, of course, eventually they got Gronk. And for me, once they got Gronk, it was
I was at that last game. I was at JC. I was actually at Tom Brady's last game as a Patriot.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, that was wild. So my girlfriend, real quickly, I won't take up too much time because I'm sure people have heard, but obviously I don't think you've heard this story. So I went there. My girlfriend was a Patriots fan, and she's like, hey, I really want to go to the playoff game. I said, hey, it's going to be expensive, and it's going to be very cold because she's never been to the stadium. So she's like, all right, let's just get tickets. We were all the way up in the nosebleeds, man, and like the fog was coming up. But before we went in there, we tailgated. It was just me and her. And I was wearing a Bucs hat. Hey, I remained neutral. I was wearing black and white Buccaneers gear. You know, I wasn't going to fly the colors. I was just going to remain neutral. And then I have the actual video. I still have it in my phone. If I can get it on here, I'll upload it. I don't know because my girlfriend pegs me off in the video. But I said, I'm just here at Gillette Stadium. I put it on Snapchat. I said, I'm here at Gillette Stadium, just here to scout my future quarterback. Like you, I had a very good feeling that Tom Brady was coming to Tampa Bay because of everything going on in New England. And I said to myself, this is the only place where I feel like he could really win a Super Bowl because he's got the running game. And at the time, Ronald Jones. He has 2 Pro Bowl wide receivers, 2 1,000-yard wide receivers, a defense that's on its way up, that's led by Todd Bowles, and a great offensive mind led by Bruce Arians. All we need is a quarterback. And so I was really beating that drum like, hey, I have a good feeling Tom Brady's going to come to Tampa. And then everybody was just like, you're crazy. That's never going to happen. I'm like, I'm telling you right now. And I caught heat for this in New England. And you know how those New England fans are. Give them a couple of beers, and things change very quickly. They were like, you don't know what you're talking about. He ain't going to Tampa. Yeah, I'm telling you right now. I'm telling you right now. You guys lose this game, this dude's going to be in pewter and red next season. Long behold, there he is.
Yeah.
There he is. All right.
I remember, you know, Gronk called and I came and I was like, I'm like, when is the sports web coming on? And that time back then, you used to start at 7 sometimes, and we'd go to midnight.
Yes,
we were just sickos.
Yeah, well,
awesome.
we were sickos because we were not sure if we were going to have a football season. And at that point, we went like 5 days a week trying to calm down all the webheads and all the sports fans out there. Listen, calm down. Tom Brady's
what a great time, man. The views.
I'm telling you.
Oh my God. Views were getting like 30,000 views in a night. It was crazy.
That's insane.
It was crazy. It was absolutely a crazy time.
So Gronk came, and I remember calling, and that was the time where you were hosting your annual mock draft, where you have guys take picks. And because I was from the Bucs, for New England, I took the Pats at 21. And do you remember who I drafted for them?
I'm trying to think who you did take at that point. Was it Antoine Winfield Jr.?
No.
Who was it?
He just won a Super Bowl.
Jalen Hurts.
Wow. Jalen Hurts. And look at, so the draft was what, 2.5 weeks away now from here now, pretty much yesterday.
Yep.
So what got me the job with you guys is when you were doing this draft, do you remember what everyone was doing when they were calling with their picks?
Mm-hmm.
They were saying, we're the Giants, we pick Andrew Thomas. And then, all right, thanks. I called in, it was my pick. I had a synopsis of his strengths, his weaknesses, why he would fit in the Bucs, and why it would make sense to take him this early when he was getting second round buzz, obviously, and ultimately winning the second round. And you know, a couple days later, the draft happened. You had me on the show, and I'll take my first L here. I own it. I compared Keyshawn Vaughn to potentially James White.
I think we all did.
Yeah,
we were all.
JC, I said the same thing.
Yeah,
I said the same thing.
It'd be interesting to see what would have became of him if they never signed Leonard Fournette. Obviously, then he was stuck behind Leonard Fournette for 2 years, and they brought in, I think, Giovanni Bernard, and he was that established third down guy.
The victim of volume, which was our thing on the show.
Victim of volume, yes. Ronald Jones. That was great.
Oh man! All right,
jeez. And then Altec, right? Jeez, my good. That was it. That's how I became a part of Bucs Report, and I spent, I would say, an amazing summer and first half of the season with Bucs Report. Got a little bumpy there in the middle, but then I ended it with a bang, and I brought so many views and all those clips of me talking to guys in the Super Bowl, Peter. It was an awesome time.
It was an awesome time. We went out and did remotes at the Deck Bar and Grill there in Isla del Sol. It was fun. Yeah, double, we weren't sure what we were going to expect because, the fan support, we knew the fan support was going to be there, but you're dealing with COVID at the time.
Yeah.
The whole situation was crazy. Want to get out to some of these comments, and then, we'll talk about the rumor that's out there from Bleacher Report saying the Bucs are going to move on from Baker Mayfield, which is ridiculous. Well, we got to address it. Steve Mike says, what will the Bucs record this year? What will the Bucs record this year be? And do you think we win the NFC South? I think you win the NFC South. And I think it definitely helps with, Derek Carr out of the blue there, retiring for the Saints. I don't think they're necessarily a great team in the first place. The Panthers, I think, are going to be competitive. Atlanta, I think, is taking a step back. I still think it favors and it goes to Tampa with the Bucs winning the NFC South. Right now, JC, on paper, how many wins do you see this Tampa Bay Buccaneer team having?
Depending on how the schedule sets up, I think, 10 is the minimum there. And you look to improve on that, 11, 12 wins. They have a difficult schedule to an extent, but they're a good team. So, I mean, I don't look at those games as necessarily difficult. I look at them as good matchups, where I look at other games on the schedule as not wins, but the favor leans towards the Buccaneers. So I think 11, 12 wins shouldn't be out of the realm of possibility, barring injuries, of course, and, seeing how the schedule kind of shakes up. And, if the Bucs maybe have a little bit easier this time in the middle of the season than they had the last 2 years, maybe that lull doesn't come.
Right.
But, yeah, NFC South for sure. I mean, you look at the Saints are a mess. I think the Panthers take a step forward. They're competitive. I'm not talking, maybe 7 wins, 8 wins, maybe. Still a losing record, but maybe they take that step forward. It all depends on Bryce Young and his progression. They did some good things in the offseason and the draft to shore up both sides of the ball. And Atlanta's a wild card, because their biggest need in the past couple of years has really kind of stymied them has been their pass rush. And they went after and drafted 2 of the best pass rushers in the draft. So if they can make immediate impact, again, if they can make immediate impact,
sure.
They could be someone where if they have a solid defense, otherwise they have good linebackers. They've got some good defensive tackles, good corners. Obviously, they got Jesse Bates, who's a nasty safety, and they got drafted Xavier Watts, who's another ball hawk as well. Like he's going to be a starter from day one for them next to Jesse Bates, and he can do a little bit of everything. But man, he 16 turnovers throughout interceptions throughout his collegiate career is nothing to scoff about. So if Penix can be a game manager, they could be right back in the mix. I think if anyone's going to challenge the Bucs, it's going to be the Falcons this year. But I still think they should win the NFC South and improve on their win total from last year.
I know who else thinks they should win the NFC South. That would be our friend there, co-host of the show, Mr. Harry the Greek, professional handicapper extraordinaire.
He misses me so much. Whenever he sees my face pop up on here, he jumps right in.
He does. And we were talking about you off air and how many years it's been, and we all together there having a good time. And he just texted me, said, I made a substantial wager on the Bucs winning the NFC South. So if Harry's confident, we all know what his prowess is when it comes to
love
betting.
You, Harry.
Yes, we all love you, Harry. We'll see you soon. Hopefully he's going to come on. Want to read this comment because you were out there at rookie mini camp.
Yeah,
we'll get into that first, and then we'll go with the Baker rumors, which I think are ridiculous, just speculation at the end of the day. People are saying Dean's job, and this is from Virgin Boys. Thanks a lot for the YouTube super chats a couple weeks ago. People are saying Dean's job is not safe. I don't know if Zion's spot is safe either. Parrish plays good on the outside. I mean, that's really been the story. Parrish really, and I get it. It's against quarterbacks that most likely will be bagging groceries or will not be on this team.
Yeah, they're bad.
They're not good.
But still, eyes anticipation, break on the ball. Those are all things that you can see in training camp or rookie mini camp without pads on. The way he reads routes, the way he recognizes, anticipates and can track the quarterback's eyes to make those breaks on 2 interceptions. Those are things, and one of them was a nice leaping one. The other one, he showed good athleticism as well. The one that the Bucs just posted, they didn't post the first one, but I have to disagree with a comment there from Virgin Boys. Mm-hmm. I think Dean's job probably, if Benjamin Morris can get back, maybe he can challenge for it. Maybe not right away, but maybe if Dean goes down, it's something that he doesn't get back. Sure. But I think Zion is safe. They really like Zion. Expect a contract extension probably for Zion this offseason. I think him and Luke Gedeke are their priorities. And then the moves down the line with Cade and see, maybe Logan Hall, if they can get him on a 2-year deal or something. And Rashad likely leaves this year. He wants a bigger role, and no one can blame him. He was 10 yards away from 1,000 yards. He had 9 touchdowns last year. He's a versatile back and out of the backfield, and probably the best pass protector in the league. Someone's going to pay him $6-7 million a year after this season for those skills, and because they also believe he can be a 1A back as part of a rotation. And if he's not that 1A back, you can pay those guys each $6 million and still pay them less what McCaffrey and Saquon are making. So, or you draft a guy to pair with him and figure it out that way. But I think he goes. So, they really like Zion and they're going to extend him. They really like Christian Izien. The problem is Parrish, I think, is a 3rd-round talent, and Christian Izien, while he's showed he can be a monster among men in the NFL, even despite his stature. I think Parrish probably takes his spot in the slot, and that gives you the best lineup, right? You got Zion, you got Parrish, because Zion can't play inside. So you got Zion, Parrish, and one of Dean or Morrison. You have Izien as a versatile backup who can play nickel, who can play both safety spots. He even played outside corner in a pinch last year in the opener when Zion left with a concussion, and obviously Bryce Hall was lost for the year. So, I think that's the way the Bucs probably go, and then you're probably looking at that back half as Kayvon Merriweather safe. If Izien's taking that safety role there behind Tyke and Antoine, will he get challenged by a guy like Shiloh Sanders or J.J. Roberts or, Rashad Wisdom, Marcus Banks, the guys from last year? And then that cornerback spot, is it Kendall Vildor? Is it Bryce Hall? Is it Tyreek Funderburk? Is it Josh Hayes? I doubt it. But, or one of these undrafted guys that emerges.
All right, we got some breaking news here, guys. Settle down real quick or settle up, because we're just talking about the Bucs supposedly playing on Thanksgiving, according to Joe Bucs fan and the LA Times Farmer. Bucs versus Rams on Thanksgiving right there. So the Bucs versus the LA Rams, the hated LA Rams on Thanksgiving. I'm assuming that is going to be a primetime game. It's not going to be during the day. It's going to be the nighttime. Bucs fans hate the Rams. There's so much history there. McVay and everything else. So Bucs.
Burt Emmanuel. That was a catch.
And also 79.
I saw JBF and I saw Pat Donovan quoting Pat Donovan. Where else did you see that?
I saw that. Well, I've seen it here on Joe Bucs Fan 5 minutes ago, and it's LA Times Farmer. Bucs at Rams on Thanksgiving. So
LA Times Farmer.
Yep. That's the report. So again, we're not trying to we're not trying to give you like bad news here, but this is what's coming off of Twitter right now as we speak. David says, JC, out of everybody we just picked up, who do you think has the best chance to be a starter at their position? You talked about Parrish, Morrison. Once he gets healthy, they expect him to be healthy. I definitely think, everything with this kid, and you have to root for him too, because when you see him get drafted, he's crying, he's completely emotional, but it's not just that. It's the fact that he could shut down number 1 wide receivers. He can be that ball hawk that Todd Bowles wants. He can be that improvement. He's got to stay healthy. Of course, I think he can, and I definitely think he can push Dean for his job. Is that who you see most likely planning somebody in this starting lineup, or is it somebody else?
Yeah, there's the opportunity, right? If he comes back strong, I didn't expect to see him on the field taking part of individual drills. He didn't do any teams, but I didn't even expect him to see him in Indy. So that's an encouraging sight. But no, I think you're already looking at the wide receiver 3 on this team, and that's probably going to be Emeka Egbuka. Again, you look at the talent, 3rd round talent, 1st round talent. It doesn't always translate. We've seen plenty of busts in there, but Egbuka is safe. And the Bucs have done that recently with a lot of their last 3 first round picks, is safe guys, high upside, potentially. But what their floor is going to be, and his floor is a wide receiver 3 in this league right off the gate.
Yeah,
he has potential wide receiver 1, or in this case with the Bucs, wide receiver 1B type, level. But definitely a high end 2 in the league. So, again, there's some chemistry going on already with McMillan and Baker, but it's a 1st round pick. Baker called him this first day and invited him out to brunch the next day. Baker's fired up about this kid, and there's a lot to be fired up about it. He didn't do that with McMillan last year. He didn't talk to McMillan until after rookie minicamp. I'm just saying, they're going to get on the page very quickly. He's a very quarterback-friendly target. He's going to be wide receiver 3 right out the gate, I think.
Wow. Over
but
McMillan.
I think there'll be a heavy rotation, though. I do want to say that.
Okay. So over McMillan, and of course, Buka and McMillan, they know each other too. And, McMillan could have, got into Jason Light's ear or the scouting staff of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and go, hey, look at this guy right here. At the end of the day, we got J.C. Allen of Sports Illustrated here on the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, along with Mr. Louie from the Frozen Pirate Podcast.
What do you hear? What do you say?
And the breaking news of the night, because we always got breaking news on this show. That's why you got to tune in on Monday and Wednesday nights, or when there is breaking news. The Bucs will play the LA Rams on Thanksgiving, guys. So what do you think?
Wait up, little boy.
That's right.
Wait up.
Of course, Baker being a former Ram there, hopefully saying the same thing to his former team. Get your weight up, little boy, right there. Risa Jojo White says, man, Dean and Zion will be starting and Baker will be a Buck as long as he produces. With that being said, stand by because we will go out to our phone lines here. We'll hook it up. We'll get this guy's intro on. Here we go.
Mr.
Let's hear from Tampa Bay, Ray Kennedy, best of the Bay. Welcome to the Evolution on Monday night.
Do you know how pissed off my wife's going to be when I got to tell her that you and I are going to be down at Ferg's Bar and Grill doing the Bucks pre, post, and halftime game for the Thanksgiving game at LA? And
most likely we will be down there. We'll probably be down there for Thanksgiving. No joke. And listen, I don't have a family. Love to have some kids. Well, I got a family. I got family here on the Sports Web, so we'll definitely be covering it. Whether we're at Ferg's or somewhere else, we got you covered here on the Evolution. Trust me, we'll eat Thanksgiving during the day. We'll pack up. We'll get ready for the night because that's going to be a night game. That's not an afternoon game. I'm telling you that right now. It's a primetime one.
That's going to be the primetime game. Yeah.
That's 8:30. So we got you ready. We'll get you ready for that. And I'm excited about the Bucs playing on Thanksgiving. And hopefully it's a better result than the last time they played against the Dallas Cowboys. You remember that score there, Tampa Bay, Ray Kennedy?
It was not 45-10.
What was it?
38-10.
Was it 38-10? I thought it was 30. Well, see, I must have fell asleep because it was 35-7, and I must have went to sleep after that.
It was not. Hey, and you know what? Louie was just saying about the primetime games. They give us a Thanksgiving game. It's a prime time. But more importantly, I'm calling because Mr. J.C. Allen's on here, waxing poetic on 5 years coverage. And J.C., thank you for what you do, brother. You're one of our inside scoops, and you're a member of this family. But how can you not be telling people about the day you came over here?
By the way, 38-10 Bucs over the Cowboys in 2006 was not a good year in the first place. But yeah, that was the score. But go ahead, Ray. Go ahead and talk to JC. I'm sorry.
No, first of all, I just want to say again, JC, congratulations on 5 years. You are our guy. You're not our guy. You're the Bucks guy covering it, locking it down.
No, he's our guy. He's been listening.
He's our guy.
We claim JC Allen on the Sports Web. Sports Illustrated, they got him now. Pewter Report had him. Sports Illustrated, the Bucks, but we always claim JC Allen. Even the other platform there, we're not going to go down that road at all.
No,
I feel like it's so strange because like JC, I kind of started over there too, and you guys started before me. I mean, my time, I knew I was just like, yeah, this isn't happening, and then now I'm here with you guys, so it's a blessing. And I appreciate someone like JC Allen. I follow JC Allen. And it's crazy because I meant to tell you this, JC. It's like I look at you and what you're doing, and it's just like I really appreciate someone like you because being from Massachusetts, it's not easy being a Buccaneers fan. And like I said, I watched your I even went back and watched some of the old episodes that you guys all used to do, even on the other platform. It's just crazy how far you came, man. Yeah. I'm just a student of the game, you know what I'm saying? And I just watched and listening to JC and his insight, man, he's got a lot of knowledge, man, and I really respect him.
He does, and everything is possible here on the Evolution. With that being said, let's go ahead and get out to my other co-host of this show. Here we go. All right, let's go out to Mr. Harry the Greek, professional handicapper extraordinaire of the sports web. The breaking news of the night as they release schedule dates and matchups. The Bucs are going to play the LA Rams on Thanksgiving night here. Your thoughts, and say hello to JC. Say hello to Louie here. Say hello to Ray on the phone there.
Ray, hello. Peter, hello. And Louie, hello. But JC, I got to know. What did you have for dinner? Now, Louie will not.
And Alfredo.
Yeah, but you don't understand now. Louie is the only one that does not understand that pun.
Well, Louie may, because I may.
I doubt it. I doubt
it.
There. What did you have for dinner?
Harry, the funny thing about that is that used to be my pickup line for every girl I ever met. I'd go up there and say, "Hey, honey, what's cooking in the South?"
Oh,
I say that no more now. Yeah.
Real quick to answer Dave, no, I don't think so. You can play outside as well.
Okay, so you can play outside.
What's up, JC? How are you, brother?
I'm doing well. Busy. Kids football season just ended on Saturday, so a little time to wind down. I am the assistant equipment director, so we got to do equipment return this week. But then I got 3 or 4 weeks off until summer conditioning, and we're right back at it at the end of July.
Yeah.
Just don't steal any helmets like they did over on the other side of Hillsborough County and go sell them to Play It Against Sports. Did you hear about that?
I did, yes.
Oh my gosh,
that was horrible.
Cannon is getting big too. Remember him? He was a little guy and taking a picture. God,
finished the season as a starting center and had some good tackles and
getting old, man.
Learned.
If anybody has ever seen his father, you'd understand. He could play center.
He can definitely play center. JC,
I've lost almost 25 pounds in the last.
Look at that!
Well, we wouldn't know that because you still show this picture from when you were 19 years old on this thing.
My headshot for Pewter Report, I think.
Yep.
There you go. All right,
that's cool.
Wow. All right, so Ray, go ahead and finish up here, unless you want to jump on the broadcast. I don't know where you're at, but
let me just touch on that too. Baker's not going anywhere. We were talking about that. Like, he's not going anywhere.
Yeah, who put that nonsense out?
Where did that come from?
This was from Bleacher Report. Now,
there you go.
Brad Gannon predicting the Bucs might lose elsewhere if he doesn't perform. Baker Mayfield probably can't afford to throw 16 interceptions again like he did last season. If he doesn't become more consistent and reliable in 2025, the Bucs could bite the financial bullet and move on from him.
If anything, he's getting a contract extension this offseason or after the season. Like, he's not going anywhere. The team loves him. The fans love him. The ownership loves him. The front office, everyone loves him. The coaches love him. He's not going anywhere.
This isn't the Cleveland Browns.
Right. Well, exactly. His name is Gagnon. He needs to gag on that opinion at
That's
this
a bad
point.
take.
But y'all say
it's May. The draft is over.
Come on. 41 touchdowns. What are we talking about here? Baker Mayfield.
At that point, when it comes down to Bleacher Report, for me, I mean, there are some decent stories on there, but if you look at it, it's just kind of like amateur hour, in my opinion. It's just anything is being written, anything's being said. There's really no credibility,
clicks, man. Like, and it's a world we live in, and even like with what we write and wherever I've been, it's you've got to format the title the right way, and you got to try to engage readership. And we live in a TikTok society, where I'm surprised we haven't gone back to the Vine days. When it's only 4-second clips. I'm surprised people have this attention span. So. It's about putting out good stuff and trying to be different. But if you're trying to be different with clickbait headlines and stuff, just to get people to talk about it, then you're in it for the wrong reasons. But again, also
it's like clickbait.
You got to take it to any of these national writers or national sites, something like that. They don't know the team like the team. They don't know the team like I know the team. Right. So that's why if you're a real fan of the Bucs, you're reading Bucs Game Day. You're reading some of the other sites and stuff like that out there, and that's what you're doing because you're going to get good source intel. You're going to get good analysis. You'll get some of the clickbaity stuff, but you'll also get enjoyment out of what you're reading too, instead of frustration when you read some of these national stuff.
Yeah. All right, let's go out to these comments. Dean and Zion will be starting. Baker will be a buck as long as he is productive. I think he'll be here because he solidifies this locker.
I mean, that's any quarterback.
Right. Well, of course.
You're not productive, you're out the door, you know?
Right. Exactly. David says,
JC,
CJ threw me off there. JC, what's your thoughts on the Watson kid out of Florida? To me,
is he asking Cannon? You might be asking Cannon. I don't know. I can ask him. No,
right. That's what I'm saying. He's too slow, out of stance. Starting offensive linemen are going to expose that. This is what Watson had to say because he spoke to the media out there. I feel like my name is etched in history, of course, as the official heaviest player in the NFL or whatnot. It's a good story. At the same time, I don't want it to be my narrative. I want to be known as a football player, a good football player at that. It's nice to be able to make history, I guess, again, because I did in college too. It's nice to be able to make history, but all in all, I'm a football player. I want to be known as a good one, so it's just the process that comes with it, I guess. He also is looking forward to working with Vita Vea, talking to him. So, I mean, what do you make of this move? I think there's something more to it. A lot of people say camp meet. He can't make weight. He can't lose weight. He's a raw prospect. I get it. What did you see from him? Or what did you gather from him talking to him this weekend or last weekend?
He's got good lateral agility for a guy his size, and he moves pretty well. I think when you look at the team as constructed right now, and what they typically carry at each position, with the undrafted free agents, there are some opportunities for them to make this team. I think wide receiver will be incredibly difficult for a guy like Garrett Green to crack the team, but maybe a spot on the practice squad. But even that's going to be highly competitive. Obviously, running back, quarterback, tight end. You know, they released one of the tight ends, or he actually decided that he was no longer pursuing football. So I think they'll be set kind of rolling through camps. Maybe add another camp body at some point after OTAs and mini camp there. But I think they'll be pretty set with what they're going into there. Offensive line is one of these positions where sometimes they'll keep 9, sometimes they keep 10, and then subtract from a different area on that side of the ball. And I think that's somewhere where there's 3 guys who I think have a really good shot at potentially earning spots on the active roster. One is Ben Chukwuma, who is the offensive tackle from Georgia Tech that they signed. Super raw, but they gave him the most guaranteed money out of any player. Pretty much guarantees him a practice squad spot, but he's got all the intangibles you look like, but he's just so raw. But there's also not a lot of bad habits. So Coach Carberry, I think, and Coach Bertucci, the offensive line guys, they can get him and develop him right. And I think he's someone that they're looking at as maybe a potential swing tackle after Charlie Heck's contract's up this year. Jake Majors, the center out of Texas, is another guy. They've tried him at guard as well. He's only ever played center. So if he can show he can play both positions, he also got a top 10 guarantee in the NFL after the draft as an undrafted guy. I think he's got a good shot if he can show that versatility to stay there, because the Bucs don't have a true center. They've cross-trained Elijah Klein, who was their 6th-round pick there in the offseason, and they're really comfortable with him too. If you were to have to go in, they wouldn't be like, oh my goodness. They have Sua Opeta there, who they re-signed, and obviously in a pinch, Ben Bredesen can play center and right guard if there was injuries to happen to Graham Barton or along the line. So they've got some flexibility, but I think Jake Majors is a guy who can, if he can show he can play guard as well as center and pick it up. And I think he's someone that they would like to potentially keep around. And then Ben Scott, the center guard from Nebraska, he's already played a little bit of guard and center. So he's got a leg up maybe in that area, but I think talent wise, I think, Majors is probably better than him. So those are 3 linemen that they could use on the offensive side. On the defensive side, bringing us to Desmond Watson, I think he's got a good shot. I mean, when you look at the defensive line as constructed, their top 5 are set. It was Vita Vea, Kalijah Kancey, Logan Hall, Greg Gaines, and Elijah Roberts, who they drafted in the 5th round. That sixth defensive lineman spot, they usually like to keep 6. Last year, they had 7 at one time, but they usually like to keep at least 6 guys there. And you're looking at CJ Brewer, who made some plays last year, signed onto the practice squad the year before. Remember, he came out of the UFL. He was with the Ravens in a stop before, but he made a couple sacks last year and made some plays. Mike Green, who made the team 2 years ago, but then was on the practice squad last year, is still around. And Adam Gotsis, who they signed at the end of the season last year. I think he was a pick of the Bears. Harry might know if he was a second or fourth round pick, somewhere in between there, but they have him as well. So there's really not a lot of high-end competition he needs to beat out. He's already lost weight. He's focusing and doing the right things. He's saying, first things first is to get my nutritionist down here with the Bucs and get on a situation to lose weight. So there's a good chance that he can potentially, crack that roster as that sixth defensive lineman. At linebacker, they have Bullock, who they just signed after the draft, and they have Nick Jackson, who they just signed. John Bullock and Nick Jackson as undrafted guys, highly productive. Guys who are
Bullock out of Nebraska, and of course Jackson, another Iowa player.
Right?
Yeah, they love the Iowa players, not only Washington players, but Iowa, and they're well coached by Kirk Ferentz there. They do a great job of putting players in position to be in the NFL. And
I don't think they keep any outside linebackers. I think they're set. They didn't really sign any. I think there's one guy they brought in. As far as cornerbacks, I think it's going to be a tough battle anyways without throwing a guy like Roman Parody, who signed more of a camp body. And then safety is going to be interesting too, because they really like Kayvon Merriweather. They cut him last year. He went to the Detroit Lions for like 2 weeks on the practice squad and then came back to the Bucs, signed to the active roster, was thrust into a role and really played well. But he'll be challenged with guys like Rashad Wisdom and Marcus Banks from last season. Of course, the name everyone wants to talk about is Shiloh Sanders. But J.J. Roberts, who they also signed, I had as a best fit for me in the 7th round. Former cornerback, he flies around, good speed. I think he's someone to watch as an undrafted guy. So it really depends on how much they like Kayvon Merriweather over some of these other guys. And if they do choose to keep 5 safeties, maybe they only keep 5 cornerbacks, because typically they keep 6 corners, 4 safeties. With Isian's ability to play kind of everywhere, Tyke as well, maybe that gives them some freedom to keep only 5 and keep an extra safety. So those are the guys to watch as undrafted free agents.
Talking about Sanders here, this is what Todd Bowles had to say about him. Like the rest of the safeties, he's very intelligent. He's very loud. You can hear him on the field making calls and everything. He has a good grasp of things day one. There was about 3 or 4 of them that did. He was one of them, but you have to make plays and pads, and that's what it comes down to, knowing what to do and then doing it consistently and constantly getting better every day. Sanders had this to say, man, look at where we're at. Look at the whole coaching staff. It's really supportive coaching staff. Everybody wants to see everybody do good, everybody on the team. We all want to see each other win. It's a great environment to thrive in, and he also impressed Jacob Parrish. Parrish says he's very smart. He helped me a lot with the adjustments. I'm excited to work with him. With that being said, JC, how surprised were you? Because all we heard about, is Deion. These are Deion's sons, his kids, and they're disrespectful. But Shiloh comes into the room, and what does he do? Go ahead and describe that moment there and talk about your initial impressions of Shiloh Sanders with the Bucs.
So unfortunately, I wasn't able to go on day 2. My son had his bowl game, but he came in and shook everyone's hand and introduced himself. I think that was tremendous of him. I think the only other person I've seen do that recently, not even as a rookie, was Tyler Lockett.
Yeah.
And he did that when he was with the Titans, and he's like, hey, we're friends and you're not going to write bad about me. So at least you'll go easy on me. But
right.
No, it just shows his maturity. And there's a lot of, obviously, drama around the Sanders kids in prime time for the things they do, but they built a brand, and that's their brand. And, he's got an opportunity to make this team if he does all the things right. And so far, Bowles is saying, he's been great communicating. There's definitely holes to his game, and special teams is the way he's going to make this roster. But there are some things to like too. He's got a good quick trigger coming downhill. When he wraps up, he's a strong tackler. He often likes to go. I mean, he's with the Costco guy, so he's going for the boom, all the time. So that's some things he can. But former safety head coach is Todd Bowles, and they've got a good coach in Nick Rapone there who can coach these guys up, and we've seen that. Guys like, again, Christian Izzy and Kayvon Merriweather, some of these undrafted guys who have had to step in and play.
Right.
They do a good job at coaching these guys up. So I think, does he have a shot? I just mentioned, yeah, but it depends on what the Bucs do. And if he can beat out someone like Kayvon Merriweather, or they want to keep 5 to keep a guy like him around on special teams.
All right, good stuff, JC. Go ahead and promote yourself here on the Evolution because I know you got to run, my friend.
Yes, sir. Always a blast. Again, this is where I started out. So always thankful, appreciative. Always love coming back on, especially when we get the gang on. I'm not sure if Ray's still there, but I know Harry's there. So
I just woke up. I fell asleep here.
yeah,
Wow.
you know I'm a rambling man.
That's right. Rambling Man, JC Allen of Sports Illustrated. Where can they find
the
you?
Rambler, because let me tell you something. AMC used to have a car for all you youngins out there. It was called the AMC Rambler. And that's when you said the Rambling Man. Let me tell you something. You were the car, brother.
Yeah.
Just put it in gear and go.
As always, Harry, excellent information provided.
I never disputed that.
You can find me, JC on NFL, right there on X. Find me at Bucks Game Day over on SI, and also the Pirate Parlay Podcast. Working on a pretty cool guest for tomorrow, potentially. Certainly, throughout the season, I'll have some more players on and more guests, and we'll dive into that schedule release, predictions, and kind of breaking news that happens. So,
JCA, you got to post some pictures of your son playing football.
I posted a picture the other day on Twitter, and Taylor posts all those on Facebook. I'm not really.
How is that lovely wife of yours doing?
She's doing great.
Good deal. Good deal, man.
Good. All right, my friend. Appreciate you as always here on the Evolution. All right.
Yep. Talk to you.
Proud of you, brother. Have a good one.
JC Allen there on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television. Open phone lines if you want to talk about the latest schedule release for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They will play the LA Rams on Thanksgiving night. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. We'll get out to more comments from these guys here.
I love opening day.
Oh, I do too.
No, I love opening day. Dallas is playing Philadelphia. Really?
You like that?
Oh,
that's
absolutely no. That's
what I thought.
Oh my God! Who the hell cares?
Do you know why? Because every Dallas fan right now is freaking out. They think it's a conspiracy theory because it's supposed to be a rematch of the NFC Championship game. So theoretically, it should have been Philadelphia and Washington. So why are they playing Dallas? I mean, I had customers coming into the shop today that were Dallas fans, and they're all bummed out, and they're like, "Greek, what's going on? Why are we playing? Why are we playing Philadelphia in Game 1?" I says, "Who cares? It's a conspiracy theory. Good luck. You're gonna have to play them twice anyway. You might as well get it out of the way in the beginning part of the season."
Why aren't they taking advantage of a team like Washington with a young quarterback and Jaden Daniels instead of the same old? How about those Cowboys?
Actually, I'd like to get you guys' input on Jaden Daniels. Do you think, because I mean the kid is obviously very talented, and I said I think he's very talented.
Very talented. Yes.
Do you see a sophomore slump from Jaden Daniels, or do you think he can repeat his?
Who are you asking first, Peter or me? Because I'd like to go last on that.
Peter, you can go first.
All right, I'll go first on this.
Put you on the spot.
Well, put me on the spot. I don't expect a sophomore slump from this kid. I think he's mature enough. Also, Washington has put enough weapons around him, getting Deebo Samuel, improving that offensive line. So I definitely think he's going to keep this team in the hunt, although his numbers may go down because, this is how it goes sometimes. Your team may be better, but your numbers may go down simply because defensive coordinators have a lock on your tendencies at the end of the day. So they may be able to catch some of the things that they weren't able to catch last year, if that makes sense. Harry?
Listen, I'm not going to try to sound like I'm being biased that Caleb Williams is the best quarterback in that draft, but he is. And I can give you statistics on why. Just like I predicted that the Buccaneers should never sign Carr because he had a throwing shoulder issue. Yes. I'm telling you now, this young man is not healthy. If he plays a whole season next year, which is going to be very doubtful that he is going to be able to do that, he will throw over 20 interceptions this year. Yes, he will have a sophomore slump. I don't care how much they've improved that line. He does not have the physical attribute to be able to play at this level consistently, because those things below his waist are the first things that he's using. Okay. And that is not good as a quarterback. Okay. Now, does he have the talent to be a Super Bowl winning quarterback? Absolutely. But bro, he has a propensity of getting injured quite often.
I agree.
Let me bring you up the reason why I think he'll have the sophomore slump. Just take a look at what happened in Houston, and he's not even that much of a mobile quarterback.
CJ Stroud, yes, absolutely. A lot of
now let's look about what happened in the North with the Chicago Bears with such a putrid offensive line. Let me give you some statistics. 6 interceptions for the year, 300 pass attempts without an interception. He was sacked 70 plus times. And you're ready for this? He was hit over 250 times in one season and never missed a game, let alone a snap. That is why there's going to be a difference. Look, Jaden Daniels a hell of a quarterback, but he doesn't have that frame to continue to take that abuse. And until he uses this first instead of those, that's going to be the difference.
I agree with you, Greek. I like Jaden Daniels. I think he's very, like, his potential, his ceiling's very high.
Well,
but
Louie,
again,
stand by. Well, hold that thought. Let's get out to
somebody good.
Well, let's get out to one of our trolls here. Let's get out to Alex, who wants to be known as Alex.
It's the tribal troll. I'm the new tribal troll.
No, you're not the new tribal troll. All right, stop it. All right, go ahead.
Guys, a couple breaking news of the day. By the way, I'm going to start.
The Rays suck. What else?
You shut up, Perry, and be quiet.
The Rays.
Why? Let me give you the reason why. Hold on. Let me give you the reasons why. Because when the Greek jumps on a game, that's like a guarantee. Because they've lost 9 or 10 straight games in a row at home. And then they're playing last week. Do I need to remind you that the Rays were an underdog at home and the total run scored for the game was 9, and you're winning 5-1 in the 8th inning? Not only does the game go over, but you lose. Give me a break.
Well, and I will still thunder from the troll on the phone here, Alex. A mind-numbing decision by Kevin Cash to put Junior Caminero in at first base, who's never played first base before. I know. I agree with you on that. I don't know if it's his decision.
Ultimately, that one error let the floodgates open up. But actually, I didn't call about that.
All right.
I wanted to say something good about the Rays. Breaking news, the Rays are going to give Evan Longoria a 1-day
we talked about that
bonus.
Yes.
A 1-day contract for him to retire. How great was that?
Well, it's great. It's absolutely great. They're going to give him a 1-day bonus there. Stu's going to have to come out of his pocket.
I thought you were going to tell me that Stu Sternberg sold the team and they're moving to Orlando.
Well, yeah, that's what
that would have been the good news.
We were all anticipating that happening.
No, but this is good news. Every Tampa Bay Ray fan loves Evan. That was the one trade that I'll never get. Evan said himself he wanted to be a Ray for life. He didn't. He went to a couple teams after that, but I like this. I love it. I'm a diehard Longoria fan. It was such a great thing to hear.
Favorite memory of Longoria? Is it
the walk off on the 162 landing?
I love it.
I was there.
Love it.
I was there. I'll never forget it.
Awesome. What a hit that was.
During the great Rays days, those were during the good Rays days when the Rays had that run in between 2008 and 2013 when it was the good days.
Yep. 2011, I believe that's when it happened. They were down 7-0 to the Yankees. Yes.
Yep. So some great stuff. I liked hearing about that. But the other breaking news is the Bucs playing the Rams on Thanksgiving, and we're going to whoop that ass.
You love that, huh?
Yes.
I wouldn't get ahead of yourself.
Underestimating
not
the Bucs.
very good on prime time.
Well, the Bucs are not very good on prime time. Louie definitely brings up a point.
The Rams, they got no Cooper Kupp this year. They are looking like dog shit.
Well,
but they still
They still got receivers, and Cooper Kupp has not been the end-all, be-all. And whenever you got Matthew Stafford under center, good luck.
Well, can he stay healthy? He's Father Time is undefeated at this point. They will definitely be.
McVay can really, a lot of people didn't expect the Rams to be what the Rams were this year.
To be a 4-win team last year.
Yeah. Right. And they went to the playoffs. And honestly, I honestly think if it wasn't snowing like that in Philly, I think they could have went a lot deeper. I'm telling you, McVay's a very good coach for that team. He knows how to build He knows how to build with nothing.
I agree.
And they've gave up the farm on draft picks before, and they still compete. I think the all-time record against the Rams for the Buccaneers, I think we're down. I think we're 10-16 against the Rams, if I'm not mistaken. But I mean, I'm looking at some stats right here with Thursday Night Football. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, your Tampa Bay Buccaneers are 3-9.
Thursday night.
Monday Night Football. Here we go. Monday Night Football, 14-15, losing record. Sunday Night Football. Let's take a look at that. 9-16.
Right there.
Yeah. Ready? Thanksgiving. Here's Thanksgiving. 0-1 on Thanksgiving. Christmas 1-0. We're undefeated. So I mean, total.
Remember that?
Yeah, it's so bad.
I don't think the Bucs are going to get the late game either, by the way. I think the Bucs are going to get – I think how they do it is they do like an early 1 o'clock, a 4 o'clock, and then they do like an 8 o'clock. I don't see the Bucs getting the prime time, depending on the teams.
You might
Louie,
be
go to your private messages, Louie.
All right.
All right, Alex. Go ahead. What else, man?
But anyway, no, I just wanted to call and say about that. I was happy to see the Evan Longoria thing. I thought that was a great thing today. I really liked that. It kind of made my day. So hopefully I might be at that game. Peter, I owe you a game on the next homestand. I've been wanting to give you a couple, so I want you to go have a good time. I know you're wanting to go.
Wanted to take mom for a Mother's Day along with sister, but we didn't get a chance to work that out. And by the way, it didn't work out that well anyway because it was raining for most of the day. I'm surprised they even got the game in, but it was a good day. It was a good Mother's Day. By the way, happy Mother's Day to all the great mothers out here that watch the show and that, you know, that do great work with raising their sons and of course, you know, raising athletes and football players and everything else. Good men like Alex, who calls this show all the time, man. We appreciate you.
My mom got to enjoy my mom and my mother and my father on a lovely cruise for Mother's Day. So I'll be seeing her next week and spend some time. So much needed for them. But listen, I appreciate the show. If I get some time later on, I'll use my second phone call. But I want to say before he leaves, Harry the Greek, I love you, bro.
Oh my God.
There you go.
He's always messing with you.
The love affair continues between Alex the Troll and Harry the Greek. Oh, but phone line, I think I seen you calling in there, Abraham. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Want to read these comments?
Peter,
yes.
What a beat that was. I just can't get over that. Are you kidding me?
And you know,
you're winning 5-1 and you leave that relief pitcher in there. I'm telling you, I understand that Fairbanks gave the game up, but if they bring Fairbanks in for that last out in the 8th inning, then they go on and they win that game. Are you kidding? That cost me 2 dimes. I mean, that's just what.
I blame me because
I will never bet on the Rays to win again. That is absolutely horrible. They suck.
I kind of told you not to bet on that game for some reason. I didn't feel good about it.
They got a lot of work to do if they want to compete. They have and
it's a long season.
The first thing they do is they have to get an owner.
Well,
that's what
that tends to help.
That tends to help. All right, let's go on to Abraham here. Abraham, welcome to the Evolution.
Hello, everyone. Hello, the Greek. Hello, Louie. Hello, Peter.
What's going on, boss? How you doing?
Good. Yeah, I like that Rams matchup. I mean, it's nice. Because remember that Brady's he didn't retire that year, but the year before, you know, they almost beat him. If it weren't, I don't know who. I'm not pointing fingers, but you know, that was a gut wrenching loss, divisional loss at home. That could have been a home NFC championship, and now we get some payback on national TV. I hope that Todd Bowles can, you know, redeem himself with that, you know, game. But I'm really excited about the acquisitions, especially the most recent UDFA signing of that linebacker from Iowa. He's pretty much an under-the-radar prospect because I've seen his game film, and he's got like 6 years and 500 something tackles, and it's like and,
Nick Jackson.
Nick Jackson. I like what I've seen. I've seen his film. He's very athletic. He's good in coverage. He goes for the ball, and he replaced that Campbell guy, right? So I'm excited what he does in training camp. I'm really looking for this because we needed somebody because as much as I like Savasi Dennis, but the injury history concerns me. And yes, Deion Jones is good. Levante is getting older, and that's one group that they didn't address in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
So I like to see more talent in that room, linebacker room.
First off, Savasier is going to have a breakout season this year. I'm really tired of hearing about all the
He's physical.
This poor guy has had the injury bug. I'm telling you, if he stays healthy, he's going to be one of the best in the league. And you heard it here first.
Love it.
And they played different too. If you notice when Savasier was on the field, they played very different. The defense, he's a very physical linebacker, and that's what I like about him.
Fly around the football.
Yeah,
they do.
He's physical, very physical.
I hope he stays healthy. I just hope he doesn't get hurt. That's all. Because last year was gut wrenching when he went down. So
because it's a different different linebacking core at that point. They got Walker Jr. from the Miami Dolphins, who Levante David knows, so he'll get the opportunity. But you're exactly right. Jackson is undrafted out of Iowa. They love the Iowa players. Bullock, of course, Jason Light and his connection with Nebraska. And then, of course, Deion Jones, which we'll see because he's shown flashes before. If he can stay healthy, he's shown flashes to be productive also. So there's going to be a competition there, but it's definitely going to be Levante David, Savasier Dennis. And then after that, it's somewhat questionable, and we'll see how that all plays out.
I definitely feel, though, we're going to be very surprised this year with this Buccaneer defense. I think it's very much improved. They addressed a lot of situations where we lacked a lot of depth. Again, bringing in guys like Watson and Shiloh and the two corners. Look, I'm not one to get excited about, rookie mini camps and stuff like that because you're playing in shorts. I want to see what you can do in pads. Parrish had, I think, 2 interceptions, That's fine and all. I love it. That's great. But you're not playing against the best of the best. I want to see what these kids can do. And that's why I tell everybody I love watching the preseason because it gives you a good idea of where the teams are. The Buccaneers are at as far as depth. Because when you got players going down, you want to know who these guys are that are going to be filling in the roles. You don't want to see, I get it, it's preseason, but you want to see what these guys can do. And I feel like this year, they really infused that defense with youth, and they have a lot of good position players, again, like Shiloh, like Parrish, Benjamin Morrison. I'm telling you, you're going to see a very much improved Buccaneer defense. They may start off a little slow. They may start off a little shaky, but I'm not worried about it because the Buccaneers have a damn good offense to kind of keep these guys above water.
I think it's Walker and Roberts. I think those are the two guys you have to look at when it comes to pass rush, and we'll see what Yaya and Cansey can do, especially Cansey, because he wants to lead the league in sacks. So we're put your money where your mouth is. You have an opportunity here that makes a lot of money if you lead the league in sacks. What else, Abraham?
Well, when Louie brought up Shiloh, so I am happy that some of the media is starting to warm up to the kid. I know that there's a lot of people have some kind of, everybody has mixed opinion. Deion's from my hometown.
They have a preconceived notion of, what that kid is going to be. And he showed a lot of media members and surprised a lot of media members by coming in and shaking everybody's hand and knowing and, trying to know their name and everything like that. So that's very respectful. A lot of players don't do that. The last player I can think of that shook people's hands when he was in for a visit, and I heard this, and this was when Mark Dominic was the GM. It was LeGarrette Blount. He shook everybody's hand. He shook the food servers' hands when they were, serving him food there, and he was, and that went a long way with the Bucs drafting him, or I believe he was undrafted at that time. That's the reason why Dominic picked him up in the first place, and of course, he didn't work out for the Bucs, but he worked out for the Patriots, worked out for other teams. So there you go.
I seriously think that he can make the squad. Plus, I prefer him over Josh Hayes is a good gunner, but I think Shiloh can make the squad that way if they're too deep at safety. Because Shiloh also has position versatility. If you don't know that, he can play the nickel slot.
I think Shiloh's going to have a very difficult time cracking this roster. My prediction: he's actually going to make the practice squad this year, and that's not even a given.
Well, that's not even
that position's. I'm just saying that's not even a given because of that position. You know what? Teams have got to look. I respect the Deion Sanders more than the next guy has, but he's not anywhere near the type of player that his father was. He's not as fast. He does hit harder, but his football IQ just is not there. And people are making a bigger deal of this young man than what they should be. And that's the reality. Now, if they put him on the practice squad or they let him play special teams, he can develop into being one of those players, but he's not there yet. He is not football ready.
I agree.
And this is not what this team needs in that secondary right now. 2 years from now, that's a strong maybe.
I think in my opinion,
listen, he'll have that opportunity to make the special teams. That's where he may make this team when it comes to special teams. But Todd Bowles,
I agree 100%.
Right.
I agree 100% because I want him to probably get Josh Hayes' role. And then I mean, that's his way of cracking the roster.
Right.
I agree with you right there.
I think he slowly climbs up that ladder. I really do. I think I'm gonna go ahead and say it. I'll put it out there. I honestly think he makes the roster, but I think he's gonna be a star on special teams just because of the physicality of how he can hit. Yep. And if he can get down there and create turnovers, and that's what this is about. I think if he can go down there and create turnovers, force fumbles, putting the team and the offense in better field position, if he can create that, he has the time to sit there and have those conversations, kind of like Jamel Dean had with Todd Bowles and becoming a better player. I do think he can be a better player within the next couple of years. But right now,
he'll be a decent gunner.
Yeah.
But you know what? He'd be good down the stack down in the box on a running situation. But he couldn't cover me, and I'm 58 years old. Okay, that's the facts. The guy has not any good. He doesn't have very good cover skills at all. And you know what? There are thousands of young men that can be gunners in the National Football League. I'm sorry. Yeah. That's the fact.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well,
again,
he'll have the opportunity.
I think he's going to shine on special teams. I think he does. And I think he's got to be like that Swiss Army knife for Todd Bowles, nickel, maybe, playing inside that box, whatever the case may be. But what I liked about him, he is a lot different than his family. He is a little bit more humble. He's not with all that pizzazz. And just hopefully he can just be a student of the game and listen, because he's in a good situation. Now, anybody can be whatever they want. You just got to be willing to put in the work, pay attention, and listen and be humble. And so far, he's doing a pretty decent job. But like I said, for right now, I don't really want to see him out there on defense. We need to see him on special teams because that's where it starts first. You want to be a good ball player?
Yeah.
Let me see what you can do on special teams.
I agree with everybody. He's going to be a good special teams player.
All right. Abraham, we appreciate the call, man. We got to get out to Leo Haggerty. Use that second call if you want to. All right, my friend?
Not a problem. Nice chatting with you.
Thanks, Abraham.
I appreciate it. Good stuff there. Let me get out to this guy right here.
Book him, Dano.
The legend himself, former Coach Scout and now media member of Night Sports Productions, Amped Up Sports, Mr. Leo Haggerty. Welcome to the evolution of Sports Talk Television on a Monday night, as we're only 2 days away from the schedule release. Of course, your world champion Philadelphia Eagles will play the Dallas Cowboys, as Harry says. Who cares? Disappointed that you didn't get Washington the first game. Welcome to the evolution.
Oh, no. You want the Cowgirls to sit there and watch when you raise that Super Bowl banner. Trust me. And by the way, you can refer to me as by my new name now, Pope Leo.
Pope Leo, right there. Leo Haggerty, and of course,
at least
it's
proven.
I want to mention
the Pope is a Chicago Bears and a White Sox fan.
I thought
the Bears tried to come out. The Cubs tried to come out and claim him. And my brother, who lives on the South Side, said, this guy's a Sox fan. I said, okay.
Well, he was the 05 World Series in all his White Sox garb. Yes, everywhere he's a huge White Sox fan. Yes. I'm sorry, Northsiders.
And he's also said that putting ketchup on a hot dog is a sin.
Really? He did say that. Yes,
he did say that. Yes, he did. All right, Leo.
On a Chicago hot dog. He's right, though.
By the way, here's your trivia question, gentlemen.
Okay.
What college has a national NCAA basketball championship and a Pope?
What college?
What college has had a Pope and an NCAA national championship? You got me, man. I don't know.
Harry?
I don't know.
Villanova. The guy's a Villanova grad.
Oh, my gosh. Villanova. There you
go. Here's
your
proof, okay, guys? There's your proof.
Yeah.
The Pope is a Bears fan.
Yeah.
Okay.
So lots of praying this year for
go.
the Bears and to not kill their quarterback. Leo, the other breaking news of the day. Sorry, Harry. You got
Bears going to win the Super Bowl now because of this?
You shut up and be
quiet.
Hold
on. Wait a minute. Hold on. The Greek can he's going to appreciate this. So I believe that the Bears are very much improved, but you guys did one thing. You won at Lambeau, and you guys broke this curse. I don't know, for some reason. Listen, I've been paying attention to the Bears, and you guys, I feel like since you guys won at Lambeau, I feel like the tides have changed, and I honestly do believe I have a strong feeling. I think the Bears are going to win that division this year.
No, they do.
They might go deep
at plus 900. Let me be very clear, at plus 900, because Minnesota still needs a quarterback. And I know that Leo will attest to that. Detroit got rid of too many players, and that window has started to close a little bit. In Green Bay, I'm sorry, I just think they're overrated, and I'm not a huge Jordan Love fan. You see that roller coaster up and down.
Wow. Green Bay sucks.
Yeah, good analogy, Louie. And plus, we have the 53rd man, and it's Pope Leo.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I have a funny feeling these guys are going to go to the NFC Championship game.
All right.
They could.
Leo, care to comment on Chicago Bears and that NFC North?
This kills them. Now, here, go ahead. Give me a little bit of love, Leo.
There's not a snowball's chance in hell of the Bears going to the Super Bowl. And again,
I don't know, man.
They'll be better. Well, you know what, guys? I would say the same thing about the Bucs right now. How are you going to beat the Eagles? How are you going to beat the Lions? How are you going to beat the Rams? Right now, it's still, the Bucs are still number 4 on that list. It's just, and again, how about everybody saying, well, let's play on Thanksgiving? You know what? You're going to play on Thanksgiving in Detroit. You don't want to play the Lions in Detroit. You know what? That's an L. That's a big L. You don't beat the Lions on Thanksgiving, right, Harry?
Well, listen, they're going to play the Rams.
Thank God.
Thanksgiving, and that is the breaking news. What did you think of that? Of course, our friend there, Christopher Cole, one of the longtime web heads, he actually reminded us that Davante Adams is also a wide receiver. Even though they got rid of Cooper Kupp, Davante Adams is on that team. You've got Puka Nacua.
Yeah, a lot of people are sleeping on him. They have a decent team.
And they got the defensive rookie of the year, by the way. That kid Florida State. Yeah, Jared Verse and his running mate there, Mr. Fisk. So that will be a tough matchup once again for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Yes.
I'm sorry. I'm watching the Knicks and the Celtics.
How's that going? Give us an update.
If they count this, the Knicks are going up 1 with 1:21 left in the period.
Wow.
What's the series
Boston
at?
will win the game.
No, they're not. They're not going to call that a shooting foul. It happened too soon. So
I need Boston to win this game.
All right.
What's the series at with these guys?
Harry, they were fine until they started just relying on the 3 again.
Well, there you go. Live by the 3, die by the 3. All right, let's go ahead and go out to some of these comments here from the web heads. Open phone lines if you want to talk to any of us here.
Excuse me, gentlemen. I got to go into the back room.
All right, he's going in the back room. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. The refs gave the Super Bowl to the Rams. Bengals had them beat 3 times.
Absolutely, hands down. I listen. That I could not remember. Maybe one of the web heads out here can tell me in the comments. But I forgot the name of the linebacker who had the play covered. They called a pass interference or holding. The Bengals won that game, hands down. They won that game. They gave it to the Rams because they built a brand new shiny stadium. This is Hollywood. This is LA. Look at us. And it was bullcrap, in my opinion. The Bengals should have won that Super Bowl, in my opinion. That was not a hold on their eye. I forgot who the ball was going to. Well, right. I'm sorry. The Bengals had them stopped. The Bengals were the more aggressive.
Can I give you a better one in that? On the last play, Ramsey falls down. And there is Chase running free in the secondary. Joe Burrow steps up, starts to throw, and Aaron Donald snuffs him. If he could have thrown that ball, the game over. It's game over because Ramsey had fallen down. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. And of course, Ramsey's still out there for trade bait. We'll see where he goes from the Miami Dolphins.
He's going to stay put, or they're going to cut him.
They're going to cut him because I don't think he stays in Miami. I don't see.
A lot of people don't understand the way I feel like what I've been noticing, Peter, and is that when somebody's available, but the price tag's too high, usually these teams kind of just wait it out.
Wait
because,
it out,
you know,
right?
Just wait it out because these guys like this are going to get cut. It's the equivalent of Jamel Dean. I don't think anybody's going to call for Jamel. Get me wrong. If the Buccaneers Jamel Dean, I think there's about 15 teams that would line up for his service right now. So it's the same thing with Jalen Ramsey. I think the Buccaneers would kick the tire.
Oh, I think we lost Louie there. Your internet again is.
I want my money back.
Yeah,
I want my money back. I'm not joking. I want my money back because I pay a lot of money for this internet.
What's up with some of the quarterback rankings? Baker isn't even the top 10 in some. I mean, really, Dave, that is the disrespect. And I feel like, again, Baker Mayfield, Bleacher Report predicts if he doesn't get over or doesn't, the 16 interceptions doesn't become more consistent or reliable, that the Bucs would move on. But, here's a quarterback who's definitely, found his career here. He's turned into a franchise quarterback, in my opinion, for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think the Bucs would agree with that. You don't see this team moving on from Baker Mayfield. Let's just say, Baker Mayfield can't get out of the first round once again. Are the Bucs considering moving on from Baker Mayfield here, Leo? Because, again, 41 touchdowns, 16 interceptions. The writer from Bleacher Report predicts that if he can't get it done this year, the Bucs move on.
Why?
Right.
Again,
right.
If there's somebody better out there, it would behoove the Bucs to do their due diligence. Absolutely. And you know what? They're talking Baker's not in the top 10. I want to know who the 10 guys above him were.
Right.
And then I'll let you know if that was right or not. Because
Leo, it's a popularity contest. That's what it comes down to. Popularity contest.
And here's the worst thing. When they're talking about quarterbacks now with Hall of Fame, and I'm going to write this in one of my columns. If you're talking about Hall of Fame, I don't care what position you're talking about. Super Bowls should not even come into the conversation. Because when you're talking about Hall of Fame, you're talking about an individual player.
Correct.
And again, when you look at quarterbacks, and I'll tell you what, there was none better than Joe Namath and Dan Marino in their prime. Plain and simple. Marino, from the time he thought to throw it till he got rid of it, never won a Super Bowl. But does he deserve? Yeah. I mean, Jim Kelly never won a Super Bowl. But yeah, these guys, but the fact that and I think the problem is the statistics are so really out there. You're going to have guys throw for 40,000 yards in a career.
Well, because you have all the rules. Right. You have all the rules now favoring those quarterbacks.
Yes, exactly. So you got to look at this and say, okay, who's the Hall of Very Good and who's the Hall of Fame?
Right.
Yeah. And again, they're just throwing guys out, this and that and the other thing. But, you got to, it's kind of like baseball. How are you going to put a pitcher in anymore? They're just not getting any innings in. They're not getting anything in. Wow. So it's hard to figure out how you're, getting things done with the Hall of Fame. And the same thing with football. It's like, okay, Peyton Manning, yes. Tom Brady, yes. But after that, you got to start looking at this introspectively.
Well, Leo, that not only just that, I feel like it's a different era of football too, because now we have 16 games, and imagine a guy like Dan Marino playing 17 games.
17 games. Yeah.
17 games. 17. Sorry.
Yeah, crazy. Isn't it?
The amount of stats.
Well, not only the stats, but the numbers are somewhat inflated, if you will, right? I mean, it's absolutely inflated. It's like the NBA with the 3-point shot, with all the 3-pointers made. That's where the game is at.
Is there any question that Steve Maravich with a 3-point line wouldn't lead the NCAA and the NBA in scoring if he had a 3-point line?
Most likely.
Do you think LeBron would have put up all those points in the paint if they played the same way they played in the 80s, 70s, and
well, don't get me started on that because everybody says, well, who's the GOAT, Jordan or LeBron? I said, yeah, they're fighting for two. Wilt's the number one. Wilt's the greatest player ever. And if you go back and look at some of that stuff when he was there, and again, Michael Jordan is the greatest of all time when it comes to playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where they need to start looking at.
6-0.
Yeah. The GOAT during the playoffs. Bill Russell is the GOAT for championships, but Wilt Chamberlain's the best ever. And no one's going to even come close to him.
All right. We will agree to disagree because we've gone on this.
And again, Peter, you never saw Wilt play, so I'm throwing you under the bus.
I can't speak on it.
You can throw me underneath the bus, but I'm telling you right now, when you're Wilt Chamberlain and you got nobody else that's as tall as you or as big as you, and you only got a few.
Oh, Peter, don't make a statement you're going to have to eat later. You got Bill Russell, you got Nate Thurman, you got Bob Lanier, you got Jabbar. Trust me. And
well, we could say
there weren't 30 teams in the league back then.
Well, that's what I'm saying. There were a lot of teams. So, all right, let's go out to the phone lines here. Alex, welcome to the Evolution.
I'm back, but I'm not here to troll.
Dude, you're
promises.
Yeah, promises. You always troll.
I wanted to kind of. I'm actually glad it was brought up. It was kind of brought up at the right time. I wanted to piggyback off that report from the Bleacher Report about Baker.
Right.
I think it came from that thing is just nonsense, man. Let me tell you why I think it's nonsense. Baker already went through a period in his career where he went through basically hell. Right? Baker knows he has it made here in Tampa.
Yep.
He is not going to go to a new team and get the offensive core where put contract aside, put money aside, put contract aside. I can tell that Baker being here, he doesn't care all about the money. He cares about having a winning culture and a team. And what he went through with the Browns and all that stuff that he went through, and we all know that whole story. That's a whole book that can be written again. But what he went through to earn that spot and that right here in Tampa, and again, he is not going to go to any other team and receive that offensive core that this Tampa Bay Buccaneers team has.
Yeah.
So I don't believe in that. I don't believe in that, all or nothing report, because I wanted to piggyback off what he just said a minute ago, but I think that's nonsense. You guys agree with that?
Yeah,
well, let me jump in there quick, guys, because it's going to be quick.
Yes.
Money does matter, but he wants to be respected, and that's the key. Don't come out and tell me, okay, I'm going to give you a 1-year contract. Respect me, and that's what the Bucs did. They've respected him, and they paid him very well. And again, the fact that people are coming out, remember, what was it, Peter, 2 or 3 years ago that it was Sports Illustrated that said the Bucs are going to win 2 games? I go, what are they looking at?
What are they looking at? Yes.
Yeah. It's just, I don't think that the Bucs will move on from Baker. My biggest fear, guys, is he's never been able to put 3 seasons together healthy. And it's not because he doesn't play hard. He plays too hard. He's got to realize that, sometimes you got to throw to the tuba. Sometimes you got to go eat dirt just so you don't end up hurt and you can play another play. That's big. And problem is Baker doesn't have that mentality. He's all in. And that's great. But like I said, sometimes you can't be all in.
Well, this is Baker right here.
Wait up, little boy. Wait up.
That's right. Get your weight up, little boy. All right,
he
Alex.
ain't going nowhere. He's not going nowhere. Bleacher Report.
No.
A lot of that stuff is clickbait. Listen, this guy is a pillar in the community. You know what I'm saying? Baker out of here is if there's like a serious assault charge on somebody or he does something terrible, which I don't foresee him doing that. Baker's not going anywhere.
Hurt, right, Louie?
Or he gets hurt.
That's it.
And what I'd like to see for Baker this year, because there's so many weapons now. You have Emeka Abu, you have
And we got
last
Louie.
year with Buccaneers.
Your Wi-Fi. Ugh. Wi-Fi.
I will say this.
We're playing Wordle with Louie today.
Wordle with Louie because I think he's
like
lost.
2 seconds.
Guys,
And you know what, guys? We may not see Harry back because the Knicks are up 5.
Uh-oh.
Oh, man.
Uh-oh. All right. Alex, what else? And
yeah. Hey, listen, I do want to add this about Baker, and I kind of agree with what Leo just said, but I kind of don't. I think that's what makes Baker so special. Listen, you got that 3rd and 10. You're about to take a sack. You get out of the pocket. You're able to escape the pocket with still probably 2 or 3 guys in your face, making that 3 and 11. First down, Tampa Bay. I mean, you can see the drive, especially last season.
Yeah.
Now, remember, I didn't really like our offensive line last year. I think it needed some work. I think there was a bunch of injuries still a little bit up on the front line. But I think Baker loves it here. I think everything what Leo said about that part was correct. You know, he loves it here in Tampa Bay. He feels home. He loves the community. Regardless of the money, obviously, he's going to ask. Obviously, he deserves a contract. That's why I liked the Bucs' initial contract in the first place. I didn't think that Baker Mayfield earned $100+ million off the rip off one good season. If they would have done that, I would have disagreed with that. But if I recall, I think it was like a $50 million deal, 2 or 3 years with incentives.
Right.
And I think that was very smart. And I think that gave Baker the
listen,
motivation
compare the contract to what Kirk Cousins got and what you got from Baker Mayfield with the lesser contract, and it was a smashing success, if you will, by Jason Light.
Harder, Peter. He worked harder.
Yes,
yeah.
and he.
Guys, can I throw this out at you right away?
Sure.
Because the quarterback's position is going to be determined by what the 49ers do with Mr. Irrelevant. How are they going to pay Brock Purdy? Because they can't pay him the next level. They can't. There's no way. And now, do you move on from Brock Purdy? And I think this is the only way the Bucs move on from Baker Mayfield is when his contract comes up, they don't have the money to actually go to that $55, $60, $65 million a year. And you know what? The worst thing that could happen to the Bucs is that Baker Mayfield takes this team to the NFC Championship game or loses the Super Bowl. Now he's going to want his money. And you don't blame him.
Right.
Yeah, but can the Bucs afford to do? Look what's going on in Dallas. What do they got? 3 guys with $170 million.
That is.
Oh no, that's Cincinnati.
That's
Cincinnati in the offense.
Yeah, that is Dallas. That is Cincinnati. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers prove every year, guys, that they're able to maneuver the salary cap. They're able to play with the numbers. They're able to, what's the word you're looking for? Manipulate, if you will. You know, who gets what.
And also,
confabulate.
Yes, very nice.
Don't forget to add, you have such good teammates like Mike Evans, who's willing to sacrifice to make a little bit of cut to extend in the long term. That's what Baker, I think that's what also motivates Baker a little bit more.
Sure.
But I'm telling you, I liked the way the Bucs did his contract because I really believe that motivated him. Now, the cap issue after his contract is up, when renewal, that's a good point, and maybe that's something we'll talk about after the season. But man,
honestly,
Baker. I like Baker.
You know how I feel about the cap. It's a non-issue. It's like the national debt, man. It is a non-issue for this team. Yes, and it's a non-issue in the NFL because the teams make billions and billions of dollars in revenue every year, and all we hear about is cap problems this, cap problems that, and they always increase the revenue and they always increase the cap by $20 or $30 million. So I think it's you know Chicken Little. The sky is falling, if you will, in the echo of Ray Kennedy, Tampa Bay Ray Kennedy, where the Rays are going to leave and go to Orlando. That's what it reminds me of. It's much to do about nothing. Much to do. Go ahead, Alex.
And you know what, guys? The cap is going to go up a minimum of $20 million a year
right.
for the next 2 years. Minimum.
I was just getting ready to say that too, because I was getting ready because he brought baseball into it. Man, can you imagine the Bucks having like a Dodger issue where you can go out and spin over like $1 billion
And they would.
payroll?
And they would.
And they won. And they won.
But they would. They would do it. And
Leo just hit it on the dot.
Right.
I really think that the cap will increase every single year because it just has to.
Right.
It just has to.
Well, it does. Yeah. They get the revenue and stuff like that. So it boosted it up. But I did want to say this earlier because I agree with Leo and what he said towards the back end about Baker Mayfield. One thing that I am concerned about, and Alex, I know that you like Baker and that 3rd and 10 and him running. Yeah, you're right. First down.
Learn how to
he's
slide,
also
right, Louie?
Yeah, exactly. But he's also one hit away from a season-ending injury. And then what? That's why I agree with what Leo says. You need to really. I like the dog in him. I really do. But what I want to see from Baker is instead of going out for those runs, take what you can. But don't try to get extra to where you get hurt. Because we've seen a smidge of that this year where he got hurt. And including myself, I was a little bit nervous. I don't want to see that anymore. There's plenty of weapons to go around. Find the open target. If it's not there, live to fight another down. Because we can't afford to have Baker Mayfield go down. We can't. And I get it. I like those runs. But if you want to do those runs, make it count. Do it in the preseason. I mean, do it in the preseason. Sorry, guys. Do it in a playoff game when it matters the most. Because I'm telling you right now, Baker Mayfield is one nasty hit away from a very, very bad injury. I'm telling you that right now.
Knock on wood when you say that, my friend. We don't need that juju here with the Bucks.
I'm just speaking as a football realist, man, because like I said, I love that stuff too.
Peter, I want to add one more thing before I go too. I think the difference in this year coming up versus last year is that Baker was more forced to make those kind of plays because I just think our injuries kind of started to pile up on the offensive line.
Sure.
This dude had 2 seconds before he had a guy up already in his face because the pocket was being destroyed.
Right.
I mean, Baker I understand what you guys are saying about the injuries, and I 1,000% agree. There's no doubt that he's just one big hit away, which I guess that makes him more.
I mean, every quarterback is one hit away. Patrick Mahomes is one hit. Josh Allen, that's the reason why you put an offensive line around him, and that's the reason
but
also.
we just didn't have that last year.
Right. Luke Gedeke missed some games because of concussion problems, so that hurt the line. Justin School there replaced him. There was pressure in the interior. You had a rookie. Now you have a second-year player. I get what Baker does. I mean, Baker definitely needs to slide, but that's the gift and the curse with Baker. Baker will make some plays and it'll be like, that's fantastic. And then, he'll throw some interceptions or he'll have a fumble and stuff like that. You're willing to take that because Baker you'll convert that third or convert that fourth down.
Remember this.
Yes. And you'll also
1,000%.
be able to throw 41 touchdowns. But I understand where Leo and
I'm going to get out of here.
Louie
I'm going to get out of here
saying.
after this last thing, Peter. I appreciate you guys. And Leo, I appreciate you too, man. And of course, I appreciate you too as well, Louie. But I want to add this before I go.
Thanks, man.
I just think, and I'm on 1,000% with Peter, and I think Peter is more on the same page as me. Is sometimes those big plays is do or die, and I think Baker acknowledges that. And the only thing about it is going into this year, I'm telling you, our offensive line does look a lot more healthier than last year.
Sure.
So that's where I'm kind of in the ups about going into this season. I also think our schedule, in my opinion, is not as rough as it was last year.
We'll see.
We'll
see because again, we always say you got 9 road games this year instead of 9 home games. You got 9 road games, 8 home games. For the Bucs. We always say, the schedule was tough, and it turns out maybe it's not as tough, or maybe it's a lot more difficult because the teams that were on the schedule that you thought weren't going to be very good actually turn out to be a lot better. You just don't know. That's why it's the National Football League. Tune in on Wednesday night for the schedule release. Alex, we appreciate you as always, my friend. All right.
Hey, you know what, guys? The Bucs don't have they don't have 9 away games. They got 10. You know why?
Why?
Got to go to Seattle. got to go to San Francisco.
Oof, that's tough.
That's an extra half because going to Seattle is ridiculous. I mean, Seattle's got. Think about this. They can never, ever bust to an away game. You know what their closest away game is? Vegas. Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy. That's nuts. Absolutely. All right. Leo, what was and we'll get you out of here on this. What was your thoughts on Derek Carr retiring? Because the rumor was the reason why he retired or didn't want to be a part of that Saints organization, he didn't want to be a babysitter, if you will, for a young quarterback that the Saints were going to draft. Of course, they draft a guy out of Louisville to the surprise of everyone. He may be their starter, maybe Spencer Rattler. Nobody knows at this point. And now you got Derek Carr, who decided to go off into the sunset here. And now there's talk of Aaron Rodgers possibly signing with the Saints. So your thoughts on Carr and his retirement? How surprised were you from that? And do you think Mr. Rodgers gets a call in the neighborhood with the New Orleans Saints?
I got an in New Orleans. You know me, Peter. I got ins everywhere, right?
I know this.
And they told me, don't be surprised if Derek Carr retires because he's been very away from the team since this injury.
Right.
And it wasn't healing. And that was the problem. Now, understand, if there's ever a team that wants to tank, it's the Saints.
Mm-hmm.
Because look for them to start Spencer Rattler or one of the other rookies or whatever. They want Arch Manning next year. Be prepared to see that one. That's what they're looking for is Arch Manning.
Well, of course,
I don't think the Saints will finish. I don't think the Saints, I not to cut anybody off. I don't think the Saints are gonna have that luxury pick though. They'll be picking in the top 10, but they're gonna have to give up some because I mean I don't know. I still think there's some teams out there that are a little bit. I don't
think they're that good, but I want to go back to this here, and this is what was said about Derek Carr and his retirement on Saturday. In late March, while ramping up his preparation for the 2025 season, Derek experienced pain in his right shoulder. The team said in a statement it was his first time throwing a football at significant volume since recovering from both a concussion and left-hand injury sustained during play on December 8, 2024. Derek immediately contacted the Saints medical staff. Eventually, medical scans determined objectively that Derek sustained a labral tear and also had significant degenerative changes in his rotator cuff. That sounds scary. Also, he had this to say at his church service in Las Vegas, which, by the way, God bless him and his, I believe his wife. They lost a young baby to a miscarriage. So he's going through all this, going through that. He says, yes, I have to say this. I hate that I have to say it, but I have to say this. I have a shoulder injury, despite what ESPN says and what some lady on a podcast might think, okay? I have an MRI report to prove it. The team knows about it. We've been in constant communication. There's nothing wrong. We're figuring it out. We're going to go forward with it. So there you go. Although
I believe it. He's taken a beating. This man has taken a beating, not just in New Orleans, but with the Raiders. Like he wasn't well. Do I think Carr could have been a much better quarterback with better protection? Absolutely. Do I think he could have been a really good quarterback with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Maybe, but then again, we didn't really have the best offensive line at some points too. So, I mean, unfortunately, there are some quarterbacks, and I don't want to disrespect him in any form. Unfortunately, some guys are a little bit fragile, and he's the type of guy where he needed a very good offensive line around him. He took a beating.
And you know what, guys? Look at the two teams that injuries just changed their complete seasons.
Yep.
Both of them in our division. The Atlanta Falcons and the New Orleans Saints. I mean, the Saints looked like they were going to go 15-2 in those first two games.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, that injury bug jumped up and bit them. I mean, literally bit them.
Yeah.
And the same thing happened in Atlanta. What's Atlanta? 4-0, 4-1 out of the gate. Something crazy. And then the one thing you can't handicap, and Harry the Greek will say this, is injuries.
That's it.
Second thing you can't handicap, turnovers. And you know what? That's the poison in the NFL because you just can't handicap it. So, and again, I'm getting ready to get off. Just under 5 minutes to go. The Knicks up 107-104.
There you go. The Knicks looking to take a 3-1 lead over the Boston Celtics. We'll see if the Celtics can tie the series up. We appreciate you, as always, Mr. Leo Haggerty, the former Coach Scout and now media member of Night Sports Productions and Amped Up Sports. All right?
Talk to you Wednesday.
All right, Wednesday night. We'll see you later right there. We'll come back to the 2-shot here.
I think I figured out the situation with the internet.
What was
I just had a bunch of tabs opened. Here I am trashing Comcast, and I just realized I'm like, hey, wait a minute, I got like 12 tabs open here.
Uh-oh.
That could have been it.
Maybe that's it. All right, let's read.
We'll find out.
Yeah, we'll read some of these comments here from the webheads, and of course, take your phone calls if you want to call about your Tampa Bay Buccaneers. How many primetime games do you think they should have this year? How many do you want them to have? What do you think about the breaking news of the night as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will play the LA Rams most likely on Thanksgiving night? Could be Thanksgiving.
Well, Peter, you haven't really answered the question.
What's
all the webheads? How many primetime games do you want to see them have? And I'll answer right after you.
I'd say like 2 to 3. Like 2 to 3, because this team is not good when it comes to primetime football, although I want them to get the exposure, but it seems like every time they get the exposure, like I believe that Baker is a direct reflection of this team and that you have to be an underdog or you have to be, looked down upon, if you will, in order for them to be successful in some points. And I think anytime this team gets that recognition, if you will, from the national media, then they get comfortable and they start to read their own press clippings and they're not as good, in that primetime situation. They weren't good in that primetime game versus the Dallas Cowboys. They haven't played really good primetime football. It's just, it has not been good when it comes to primetime football for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So I would say 2 to 3, but Thanksgiving is kind of cool. I'm looking forward to seeing them again. All right.
One game. That's all I want.
It.
Thanksgiving.
Game. That's
it.
No Monday Night Football.
Sorry, Buck fans. We're not a primetime team. Sorry. We never have. We never will be. Unfortunately, it's just the way the cookie crumbles. If you don't like it, call in 727-255-0391.
And it is your internet. Yeah, it's in your internet. It is your internet. It's not the time.
Yeah. I'm getting ready. I'm getting pretty close to smashing this thing. Not gonna do it though. I gotta hold my composure. I was actually too. While Leo was talking, I was shopping for internet service, and I'm like, hey, wait a minute. Maybe it's all these tabs that got opened up here.
No.
But no. I'm gonna call Comcast.
Is your laptop is your laptop new?
It's fairly new. It's not like old. I mean, it's not one that I want, but I mean, to be honest with you, I think once we get cracking with this new gig, this new job.
Yeah. Internet.
I'm gonna get an Apple, one of those expensive Apple laptops.
I just get an Alienware. That's what
Starlink, Louie. Look at the comment. here. Starlink, Louie. You won't regret it.
You won't regret it. I mean, I got to look into it myself.
I was thinking about it. I just don't know how to go about it. Yeah. I mean, I don't know how much it is a month.
Right. All right.
So and it goes by coverage too, right?
It does. I think it does. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know.
Let's see here. Steve says the NFL didn't want the Bucs to be the only team to win a Super Bowl in their own stadium. Dave, will Buka take over the slot? Move Godwin outside again. Alex, you're calling it. I don't think so. I don't think so either, Alex.
No, you can't switch Godwin out of that role. Godwin is lethal in the slot.
Mr. Third down also.
Yeah, I mean, how many Tom Brady showed the league. I mean, think about it. When Godwin tore his ACL, came back, he started the first game. Well, he didn't start the first game. He got a couple of catches against the Raiders.
Cowboys.
I believe it was.
Cowboys.
Yeah, okay. So no, the Cowboys, right. He came in, he played a couple of games. He still put up what was it, over 100 catches that game? Not that game, geez. 100 catches throughout the season in the slot. He was deadly in the slot. You do not take Godwin out of the slot. I prefer him in the slot. I prefer, if you're going to, I mean, I'd like to see McMillan, because McMillan shows he can catch those balls on the sideline. He can catch balls in the tight window. That's why I'm saying you got to keep Godwin in the slot.
Okay. All right. This might be the most balanced offense we ever had. With the defense, it's definitely getting a lot better. This could be our year. Agree with that, Carl. Good comment.
Oh, yeah.
Is it true the Bucs and Rays play at the same time this year? If so, Dale Mabry will be a mess. That has been a rumor. It's been thrown out there. I don't think it's going to happen. We'll see. JC is camera shy. Abraham, I like the new linebacker signing, Nick Jackson from Iowa. Very underrated signing. What do you guys think? Shiloh Sanders, Desmond Watson, legitimate chance of making the roster. I want to hear from you guys. Absolutely. They have an opportunity. Harry said it right. Who cares? Dallas and the Eagles. Just go ahead. Start Philly 1-0. Harry said it right. Okay, good stuff, Dave. Thank you very much. I'm scared that Daniels will be the next RG3. I don't think his body is going to hold up to all these hits unless they teach him to throw the ball away. Good point. Christopher Cole, Rams sign Adams, Devontae Adams. That's who you're talking about. ESPN has Campbell as the defensive rookie of the year. Jahad Campbell from the Philadelphia Eagles, the Green Queen herself.
I'll be very upset.
Disappointed.
Oh, yeah.
The banner will be dropping at Lincoln Financial Field, and we'll give Dallas a nice beating. I like that a lot.
Are Eagle fans going to rip that stuff down?
I don't think so. I don't think they will rip it down. Well, I guess all the Bears don't get their full wish. They said, God, please help the Bears. He said, nope, the best thing I could do is give a Pope. If I was author blank, which I don't think you spelled that right there, Tim, but that's okay. I like how you spelled it.
Blank.
I would be asking my GM, why is Tampa quarterback making what he's making and our backup is doubling up his salary and we get nothing for it? You get nothing, soup or nothing. Absolutely. No soup for you. Baker needs to protect himself. Agree. Arch probably won't come out next year. Dave, Carr screwed the Saints by not retiring before the draft. Okay. Dave again. Injuries for wide receivers last season screwed us. Mike and Chris missing cost us 4 winnable games along with the defense. It's all about depth at the position. Good point. Dave, Starlink, Louie, you won't regret it. And Dave again, $105 a month, no contract coverage is no problem. Let's see.
Yeah, but what happens when it's cloudy out though? Do I still get coverage?
Well, yeah. Do you still get coverage? Is it one of those things that works with cloud cover and stuff like that? I think we got one more. One more call from Alex because I'll let him. He wants to call in, so I'll allow him to call in. But I give him a call. Alex, go ahead quickly because we're gonna wrap this call up. Yes.
You know I'm your number one fan when you get 3 calls in one time.
3 calls. All right, you get 3 calls because nobody else is calling in. What do you want? I'm just joking.
Stop it. All right, listen. I want to talk just a little bit more about the Bucs, and now I'll talk about the Rays real quick before I go. All right, 12-5. Keep that number in your mind.
12-5. So 12 wins.
12 wins, 5 losses.
No matter when the schedule is, you still say 12 wins. Yes, tell me why.
That's pretty bold considering the schedule hasn't come out yet.
Well, he's 12 wins.
Wow. I said the team's good for 12.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Doesn't matter about
great minds
X, Y, and Z. And now it's about the opponents I've seen. I'm very confident. I'm confident in our offensive core, man. Man, if you really think about our wide receiver core, if you can get a healthy Godwin, can you imagine? You said one thing right just a minute ago. Put Godwin in the slot. Keep Mike Evans. Jalen McMillan.
Yeah.
Wide receiver.
Yeah.
And Irving's going to have 1,500 rushing yards.
Well, yeah, everybody forgets about the running game there. Yeah, the running game in Irving, and then you also got Rashad White, who's forgot about, and then also
I think Rashad White's going to ball out this year. I really do.
Yeah,
I think he's in a contract. Yeah, he's got a lot to prove. And you know what? I will say this. I know Buck fans are going to kill me out there because I said I wanted to trade this guy. Listen, I only wanted to trade him if we could have got a guy like Crosby and you throw him in the deal. That's why I wanted to trade him. I didn't want to kick him off the team.
Right.
But I will say this. I predicted Rachaad White last year to have 2,000 all-purpose yards. I didn't realize how great Bucky Irvin was going to be. I just hope, we talk about Jaden Daniels in a sophomore slump, this and that. I just hope we don't see that from Bucky, which I doubt we will. But I do think Rachaad White is going to ball out this year because, again, this guy is in a contract year. And I wouldn't be surprised if he balls out. I wouldn't be surprised if he makes his way. I'm going to give you 2 teams right now that would love to have him. One, where I reside right now, the New England Patriots, because Mike Vrabel could definitely use a guy like that for Drake May, who is not talked about enough. Drake May, in my opinion, is just as good as Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels. It's just that he plays on a very bad Patriots team. So, yeah, I predict Rachaad White to maybe the Patriots. I wouldn't be surprised if he went up just a little bit up north from Tampa to Jacksonville.
There you go. Duval. All right. Go ahead, Alex. Finish up.
I want to talk about one more thing before I go because we haven't really talked about it tonight. But, every time I call, I talk a little bit of baseball.
Yeah.
So, what a tough loss yesterday on Mother's Day. Couldn't get the offense going yesterday. Another couple guys, Brandon Lau struggled again.
Yep.
Taylor Wall struggled again. I'm glad I didn't send you to that game because I would have felt bad.
Stand by, Alex. You got Abraham calling in here. Let me put him on hold. Abraham, we got Alex on the line here. We're going to finish up with him. We'll come out to you, all right?
Not a problem.
All right. Everybody wants to call in when I said I'm going to end the show. All right, Alex, go ahead and finish up. Yeah, that would have been not a good game to go to, especially with it raining and once again, Ray's offense struggling like always.
Yeah, but you got to look, just before I go, I wanted to encourage some of the Rays fans because that's what I do because I love the Rays.
Yep.
The Rays are only 5 games back right now, which, by the way, the Yankees are currently losing to Seattle.
There you go.
Who obviously is in first place right now. They're really not having a good year either. The division is really not that stressed this year.
Nope.
So I'm telling you, the Rays are getting ready to go onto a little stretch. I
hope so, man. We continue to say this. They're going to go into a stretch, and I feel like
we're playing teams.
Been hearing this for a little while now.
Yes.
Yep. We're getting ready to face a lot of teams that are sitting at 500. We're getting ready to play the Jays, the Marlins, and the Astros for the next 3 series, which, by the way, be prepared. I would really like to give you 2 tickets for those Astros games. So please, you have to remind me, okay?
Okay.
Because I have 2 for you saved.
Sounds good.
But anyway, it's going to be a good stretch. I'm telling you, bro. I really feel our offense is going to turn around, bro. Because even in the last series that we won, we still won the Milwaukee series. Keep that in your mind.
Okay.
The first 2 games were really looking good. Taylor Wallace was hitting the ball again. Brandon Lau was getting a couple good hits. Danny Jansen taking some good walks. So I know you and I have talked about it several times in the past couple of weeks about those small guys getting off to a very slow start.
Right.
If you really looked on the last series against Milwaukee, they're really starting to turn it around. So I'm telling you, bro, I know a lot of Rays fans, including myself, have some doubts, but we're only 5 games back. And again, the Yankees are losing right now. So if we can hit this stretch against the Jays coming up, which they are in Toronto right now, they start a series tomorrow, and then they head to Miami, who Miami is sitting out or below 500. So we're getting ready to enter this little stretch here that I think we'll be able to make up some ground. So it's good to see, but it's good to see the Rays maybe turning it around a little bit, regardless of the loss yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Some of those key guys that you and I have been talking about are starting to turn it around too. So that's good. But Peter and Louie, I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys giving me the opportunity to call in and be a part of the show. And sometimes I like to bring the nonsense, but that's okay. And Peter, please.
You're going to stop paying points on that, man. You're going to stop paying points on those. You got to do phone call, the extra phone call.
Yeah, well, you got to do. You got to be doing one favor.
I owe Peter 2 games now for the extra phone call.
Yeah,
but on the real, Peter, please, bro, please remind you, dude. I would love to send you. I have tickets for you anytime you want, bro.
All right, man. I got you, brother. I appreciate you.
All right, guys. You guys have a blessed night. Thank you, guys.
Yep. Good stuff there from Alex. All right, let's go out to Abraham. Abraham using his second call. What's on your mind, boss?
Hey guys, what's up? So since we're on the Baker topic, I like to say something. you know what? Next year should be. I want to see some growth in Baker. He's a great quarterback. I wouldn't, we're just lucky to get him when we got him.
Mm.
But I would like to, I see when the team has a good, comfortable lead, the play tends to get a little bit sloppy, and then this is where the turnovers happen. I've seen games that he throws picks, but I mean, he'll put you on your back and he'll do all that, but the play can get a little bit sloppy, and I like to see a little bit more.
So you're like, live to fight another day. You want him to go down. You want him to throw the ball away. You don't want him to make those ill-advised throws, correct?
Yeah, exactly. And also, I mean, there was that last exchange. I don't know who's at fault. I'm not pointing fingers because with McMillan against Washington, but Baker
rookie era. That's what it came down to. They both owned it, which is good.
Right.
But it was just a rookie era. Same thing with what's his face, Graham Barton, the center. Messed up the snap count, cost us some penalty, I believe. Just rookie mistakes. But you know what? It's good that those things happen because I'll tell you one thing. That will never, ever happen again. Graham Barton, I think, is going to have a very, very good year as well this year. I think that takes a lot of balls, man, to play center. That's a tough position to play. And that kid, 10 toes down, man, he did a fantastic job. But I guarantee you, he's going to end up being one of the best centers in the league. I'll put money on that. He'll never make that mistake ever again. And if he does, I'd be shocked.
I'd be shocked too.
Well, because what I saw when the voluntary camp, I saw Baker, Barton, McMillan, even Bucky. Bucky had a fumble against Atlanta, and he was so down on himself. Then Tristan Wirfs brought him up.
Yeah.
These guys got a chip on their shoulder because they know that they're a better team than Washington.
Right.
And they beat Philly. We beat Philly last year. So we also beat the other team. No, we didn't beat Kansas City, but we beat Philly.
Right.
We beat Detroit. So if we are a team that stays healthy and we got good depth and we play mistake-free football, I know there's no perfection. But I know they hired a consultant to help Todd Bowles with the third downs.
Which is huge. It's going to pay dividends, I promise you.
Also, consultant works with Baker, too, on making better decisions at certain times of the game, starting the game film, and gets rid of these tendencies, So be smarter in moving the football. I mean, I like what he does, but we got to be a little bit smarter. That's all.
Agree.
I don't have anybody after my quarterback.
Absolutely, man. I completely agree with you on that. Good stuff, Abraham. Anything else here on the evolution, my friend?
That's it. It's a pleasure talking to you guys.
Man, we appreciate the calls as always, man. You definitely bring a lot to the show, and we appreciate
Abraham, real quickly, what's your take on what do you think the team's going to be as far as wins and losses? Because I said that they're good for 12 wins. Alex said 12 wins.
13-4. I said 13-4. I think it's a possibility.
Wow. All right. 13-4. Abraham says we'll see what the schedule is on Wednesday night at 8:00 here on
That's
the
going to be a good one.
It will be because we will be starting the show off with all that and all that talk and all the anticipation, if you will, to see what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who they play. We already know they're going to play the Rams on Thanksgiving night. I guess it's going to be Thanksgiving night. I would assume it's going to be Thanksgiving night. Who knows? All right, Abraham, appreciate the call. Don't be a stranger here on Wednesday night, all right?
All right, guys.
All right, good stuff there. We'll wrap it up right there. Yeah, he's great. Alex is great. We love the phone calls. We love 2-3 phone calls at a time. I'll give you 3 sometimes. If you're good to me, give me some final thoughts as we wrap this show up tonight on a Monday night.
Well, I'm definitely calling up Comcast tomorrow.
Please.
That's a thing. I don't understand. It doesn't really act up like this. I don't know. Maybe it's a hiccup in the system today. I don't know, but I mean, I'm not really too satisfied with it. I'm not gonna curse. I'm not gonna yell at them. I just want to discount. I'm going to say I was on a very important phone call, or what should I say here, Peter? Help me out. I'm going to tell him I was on a very important.
You're on the evolution of sports talk television. Yeah. They kept on interrupting your great thoughts about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna definitely look into Starlink because if the clouds don't affect that because it gets really nasty up here in the wintertime, then I'll definitely look into that. But my final thoughts, man, I'm just waiting for the schedule to drop because there's one game that I'm circling on that schedule. And to a lot of Buck fans, it may not mean anything, but to me, it means a lot. It's that Buccaneers and Patriots game. Unfortunately, my father's no longer with us, and that's a game that I would really, when the Bucs played the Patriots in New England, Tom Brady coming back to New England as a Buccaneer, my wife came up there with me to watch the game. I mean, I wish it was my dad. And same thing. I wish he would be here to go down there and watch that game. I think he used to love going to Florida. But that's one game that I'm really circling. Hopefully, hey, maybe that's the primetime game that they play. I don't know how many primetime games they're gonna get, but that's definitely something that I'm not something I'm thinking about. It's definitely something I'm gonna do. I'm going down there for that game. Absolutely, hands down. That's the one game I'm gonna highlight.
All right. I want to read some of this from Joe Bucks fan who says, let's see. Sent this directly to Joe's way, considering Donovan is employed by the Buccaneer Radio Network. There'd be Pat Donovan. Joe is taking this to the bank this evening. Donovan dropped via X that the Bucs will play Thanksgiving night at the Rams. The fourth Thursday in November just got a lot better. Thursday night games are brutal for the road team, of course, the Bucs being the road team. So there you go. That's
gonna suck, man. I'm not gonna lie, Peter. That's gonna be terrible for the Bucs. I don't like those. I don't like that. Just because anytime you have to travel, especially like the Christmas games or like the holiday games like this, I feel bad for these guys. Because it's just. I don't want to sound like a negative Nelly here, but holidays are the time to be around your family.
Yeah.
And it just sucks for the Buccaneers that
hey, listen,
they got to go out and travel at. But you're getting paid millions.
Yeah,
so,
they're professionals.
It just sucks.
Yeah, I mean, update here. Knicks take a 3-1 lead over the Boston Celtics. That is not necessarily the top story. Jason Tatum goes out with an apparent lower leg injury, to sound like a hockey one, in a wheelchair.
It's over.
Wow.
It's over.
And Boston Celtics, if they lose
over.
the series, most likely will dismantle that championship team just a year removed from
you think so?
Yeah, because of the luxury tax. Yeah, they're going to get rid of a lot of players. They're going to reset, it looks like, and looks like the Knicks could be moving on to the Eastern Conference Finals. How about that?
When was the last time that happened?
Wow, you have to go all the way back, I think, to 1999?
Yeah, but think about all the players they brought in to help that franchise. Carmelo Anthony couldn't do nothing.
Yeah.
I say Carmelo because that's, again, that was me growing up in that time.
Laurie Stoudemire, and you're exactly right. Just a player after player.
Sean Marion. Was Sean Marion play for the Knicks? No, he played for the Suns.
No. They wanted to go after LeBron, couldn't get LeBron a couple times. They've been through it. I'm happy for Knicks fans. I really am, because I know they've been through it.
Yeah.
It's been a long time, and it looks like they're definitely relevant, and they're about to eliminate the world champions from last year. The Boston Celtics now up 3-1, 121-113. New York wins. Louie from the Frozen Pirate Podcast. Appreciate the time here on the Evolution. We'll see you on Wednesday night for the schedule reveal, my friend. All right.
Also, real quickly, if you guys didn't catch All Walks of Life, that show that we did, that Jay and myself did, go check it out. It's on the YouTube channel, the Frozen Pirate Podcast. Go right to Peter Blake's Facebook page. Shout out to Peter for the boss man letting us, giving us that platform. And that's something that we're going to be doing. You're going to start hearing more and more of a couple of people joining us. Well, not a couple of people, too much. It's way too much. Maybe just a guest for Jay and myself to talk to. And hopefully we can get Peter on there and he can give us his walk of life. You know what I'm saying? Something that we're going to be doing that's really cool, dude. And like I said, this episode was just kind of me explaining everything, like my little journey of podcasting and making my way down there to, one day work for the team and do some stuff with the team. It's never too late to do anything as long as you're motivated and you're willing to put in the hard work. And like I said, I get up at 4:30 in the morning every day to go to work and do construction. And I'm still here on the sports web. We do turnbuckle talk all the way up until midnight. We did draft coverage. Like whatever it takes, I'm a grinder, man, and nobody's going to stop me from living out my dreams. So, but yeah, definitely go check out All Walks of Life on the Frozen Pirate Podcast. Follow me on Facebook. I want to get these follows up just because of the simple fact I want to start streaming live on the Facebook page.
Yes.
That'd be really cool too, man.
Gotcha, bro. All right. We got you. Louie.
I appreciate you, man.
Yes, sir. We'll see you on Wednesday night. All right. There you go. Right there. Louie from the Frozen Pirate Podcast on with us tonight. He'll be back on Wednesday night. Thanks a lot, of course, to all the guests. Harry the Greek, professional handicapper extraordinaire. We had Tampa Bay Ray. We had Leo Haggerty, former Coach Scout and now media member of Night Sports Productions. And as always, all the phone calls. We appreciate it, webheads. Like and subscribe to the Sports Web on YouTube. Friend me on Facebook at Peter H. Blake. We'll keep it down. The roommates are sleeping. One right now is most likely disappointed because he's a Celtics fan. So we'll just keep it like that. Bring your passion. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Let's go ahead and read this before we go to that. Watching the best sports talk show in the Tampa Bay area, the Sports Web with Amped Up Sports. Thank you, Mom. Appreciate you. As always, happy Mother's Day to you. Hope you enjoyed the dinner brunch that we had yesterday. So with that being said, thanks a lot for tuning in. As always, 3 things. You know them, you love them, you got to have them. Bring your passion, bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. I'm your host, Peter Blake, your Rolex reporter. What time is it? It's my time. And for fans of the Sports Web and the Tampa Bay sports fan, it's your time. We'll see you next time on Wednesday night for the NFL schedule reveal. Who will the Tampa Bay Buccaneers play? We already know Thanksgiving night, they're going to play the LA Rams. That has been put out there. So we'll make it official on Wednesday night. As we always say here on the show to end it off, go Bucs.